righty, let's get into it, shall we? Greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Ange Kirchhoff, and welcome to our live kickoff with Kirchhoff Sunday of Week 3 of the 2023 fantasy football season. For the next 3 hours, of course, we're answering all questions related to Week 3. Again, there are a lot of injuries already going into the week. There are a lot of uncertainties that we are still not, 100% confident about. Joe Burrow, the Cincinnati Bengals, that entire organization, and the game that, obviously takes place tomorrow still hangs in the balance. We're going to try to, at the best of my ability, answer as many questions as possible. If you guys are going to ask a question, please be sure to go ahead and mention your scoring format. Additionally, as you guys can see to the right side of the screen, I have updated rankings as of this morning posted to the right. My top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks, and tight ends. Again, the players that are not included are players who have already participated on Thursday's game, and included on top of that is the assumption that Joe Burrow is not playing on Monday. So with that overall assumption, I've gone ahead and I've adjusted Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, and of course T. Higgins to represent that potential missing piece of Joe Burrow. Again, unless you have a pivoting potential piece in which you have Matthew Stafford or Baker Mayfield available to you on roster, I think if we err on the side of caution, the likelihood is you probably want to go into Monday just wondering, maybe, or just, kind of expecting him to maybe miss. And even if he does play, there's not a guarantee that he could play the entirety of the game either. Maybe there's a chance that he could re-aggravate the injury once again. And if that takes place, could be very, very worrisome. Okay, also on top of it, these rankings assume that Aaron Jones and Christian Watson are both playing. Now, there is a chance that both of them could miss. We'll know in about the next 3 hours as to whether or not they're going to be active. And if they're not active, then I'll go ahead and I'll adjust the rankings of A.J. Dillon and Romeo Doubs as we progress over the course of today's live stream. But just wanted to go ahead, give you guys this understanding as to where everything is kind of sitting based on the rankings and how we'll approach going forward. For those of you who have already gone ahead and signed up via Underdog Fantasy over the course of this season, so from August 1st, 2023 till, of course, yesterday, if you've gone ahead, signed up using code Andrew, made a first-time deposit minimum of $10, you will already have rankings available in your email. So go ahead, check your spam folder, all that kind of jazz, for those of you who have gone ahead and done so. Otherwise, let's get into answering questions. If you guys haven't yet already, we greatly appreciate it if you guys could click the like button on this wonderful Sunday. All right, let's get into this, shall we? All righty, here we go. Matthew, 1031 says, good morning. In a full PPR, flex Chris Godwin or Joshua Kelly. Thanks, man. Yeah, look, Josh Kelly takes on a very advantageous matchup. In comparison to last week, the matchup difference between taking on Tennessee and in Minnesota, it is a world's difference. On top of it, as confident as I was last week in Joshua Kelly filling in for Austin Eckler, I am just as confident, if not more confident, going into this week's matchup. So I'll take Kelly in the given week over Godwin. Thank you. JD says Connor or Javonte Williams. Okay, between those two, depending on your scoring format, I honestly think that regardless of whether it is standard, half, or full PPR, I'm playing Connor in that overall position. The overall lack of opportunities that we do see Javonte Williams get, considering there is still the application of Samaje Perine. Samaje Perine still plays the most snaps out of that backfield as of last week. We saw Jaleel McLaughlin steal the goal line carry. So between those, James Conner gets the full workload of his backfield, even in a tougher matchup. Even in negative game script, he will be the better fantasy prospect, in my opinion. And honestly, could end up playing well and having himself an upside game, just like he did last week. As your follow-up question, JD, you were asking Dell, Dotson, or Elijah Moore. Between those three options, I'd probably play Tank Dell. Thank you. Matt K says, trade question below. All right, let's see here, Matt. Do we really have trade questions on a Sunday morning? Let's see here. Matt K, what are we at? All right, Matt. Says, give Deebo Samuel and Cam Akers for Ramondre Stevenson and Michael Pittman Jr. Yeah, I'll take it. Give me Ramondre and Pittman rest of the season. Full PPR, current start. Yeah, it doesn't even matter what your starting lineup consists of. Cam Akers, I don't expect him to do much in the long run here. So yeah, I'll take the Ramondre and Pittman side going forward. Thank you, appreciate it. Let's go ahead. Let's move on. Next question. We have ourselves Chad Ziegler says, in a half PPR, Mixon, Brian Robinson. Why does it say was? Mixon, Brian Robinson, and then like a bracket was. Okay, either way. Kyron Williams, Rashad White, Kareem Hunt, Alexander Madison, Jefferson St. Brown, Christian Kirk, Nico Collins. Who do I start? 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a singular flex. Also, should I trade Brown? Okay, so let's figure out who we're starting first and foremost. Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those are automatics. No worries about that. I also believe that playing Joe Mixon alongside of Kyren Williams, those are your 2 automatics at running back. As for your flex in a half PPR scoring format, I'm leaning towards the idea of playing Nico Collins there. Thank you. As for your follow-up question, should I trade Brown and White for Barkley and Cup? Let's see. If you trade St. Brown and White for Barkley and Cup, yeah, I would. Yeah, if you can get away with it, I would. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. Flo in the chat was asking Tutu Atwell or DK Metcalf. I mean, I prefer DK Metcalf. I think Tutu Atwell certainly will have himself an impactful performance, especially, guys, if we get into a situation where on Monday, like the absence of Joe Burrow is legitimately upon us, that is going to be a one-sided affair. And we'll talk about it with the defensive rankings as well. There's a potential where you can even play the LA Rams defense tomorrow and find a lot of success. Liberito 26 says, is Aaron Jones even playing? I have no clue. We'll know in about the next hour, I would say, or so. And if and when we figure that out, like I was mentioning earlier, I will update the rankings on screen. But until then, I would just stay under the assumption that he is, because he was trending in the right direction in terms of his practices going into Sunday. And the fact that he already hasn't been ruled out in comparison to last week does mean it's a little bit more promising going into the week. All right. Thank you very much. Let's go ahead. Tiago sends in a question, says, greetings from Brazil. Kelly or Jones this week at a half PPR? Again, depends on if Aaron Jones is even going to be active. So if he is, as you guys can see on screen via the rankings, I'll take him. But if he's not, we'll see. If he's not, the decision is made for you, and then you can just pivot to Kelly. If you don't even want to worry about it and the potential of it, then you just play Kelly and keep moving. Thank you. Let's see here. We had Anthony Barrett says, hey, bud, Gabe Davis or DJ Moore in a PPR? I'll take DJ Moore in the full PPR. I mean, look, Gabe Davis certainly has upside. That is a given. We all know that his upside is very impactful on top of it. It's just a matter of, can he consistently get there? Because last year, very seldom did he ever get to that upside performance. Like, he had 5 games of over 10 fantasy points and a half PPR last year. So my assumption is, like, yes, there are going to be great weeks for him that have breakout performances. As to whether or not we're able to predict them, difficult to see. Let's see here. We have Magic Bell says, half PPR. I need a wide receiver 3. Braxton Berrios or JSN. Thanks. If I'm playing one of the two, I'd probably just play JSN there. I don't really want to trust Braxton Berrios going into a given week. He's had himself decent fantasy performances in the past as a New York Jet, but quite frankly, relying upon that in the absence of Jalen Waddle, it is going to be tough to do. So I'd rather just play JSN in that regard. I know that there's going to be a solid amount of targets going in his direction, and if in fact JSN can accompany his performance with a touchdown, then he makes your week. Let's see here. We have, where the heck did the next question go? All right, 305 Raider, thank you very much. Actually, that message got redacted. Never mind. Corey Mitchell says, full PPR, pick 3. We have Flowers, London, Rashad White, Connor. Okay, so out of those potential 4 options in a full PPR scoring format, I would play Flowers, London, and Connor. Thank you. Moving on. Also pick one between Pitts and Higbee. I'll play Pitts. Follow up to that, I just traded Wilson for Jonathan Taylor. Did I make a mistake? You moved to Wilson as in like Garrett Wilson? I don't think that's a mistake. I think in the long run, that's a victory for you. Thank you very much, Cody. Appreciate it. Moving on, we have Connor Rudden says, half PPR, Tyler Lockett or Gus Edwards. Thank you. All right, so let's see here. Where do we have Gus Edwards in my flex rankings comparatively? Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards, where is he in the flex? He's there, and Tyler Lockett is... Where is Tyler Lockett? Tyler Lockett's ahead of him in the flex rankings. So I'll go Tyler Lockett there. Thank you. Appreciate it. I mean, look, they're both going to be pretty solid plays. Gus Edwards, the assumption is that he gets a bulk or majority of the rushing attempts. The only issue that he has in the half PPR format or any full PPR format is the fact that he doesn't catch any receptions out of this backfield. And if there are going to be any utilizations of third down, need of help, it'll probably go to someone like Melvin Gordon and or Kenyon Drake out of the backfield today. But ultimately, the first and second down work should be his. The goal line work should be his. And even though it's not the greatest matchup, the volume of opportunity that he's given is going to be good enough. But I really do believe Tyler Lockett just has as high of a floor and an even better ceiling of production within a given week and a half PPR. Let's see here. CB sends in a question. Thank you very much, CB. CB says, would you trade Kelsey and Godwin for Chase and Puka Nacua or Waddle? I'm 1-1. Kelsey and Godwin for Chase and Waddle. Yeah, I would do that. I'll take Chase and Waddle rest of the season. I'm fine with that. Also have Eckler and Mahomes. Yeah, look. So basically, if you're in a league in which, I can take a couple losses here and not really feel it, and in the long run, I'm going to be able to just get all these players back healthy and ready to go. Yes, I would like to have Chase and Waddle rest season. Thank you. Nathan Williams says, in a full PPR, Swift, Pickens, or Ford. In a full PPR scoring format, it's probably going to be Pickens out of those three. Yeah, it'll be Pickens, Swift, Ford in that order. Thank you. Let's see here. Again, a lot of the DeAndre Swift questions are going to be, we are purely it's all speculatory as to what kind of utilization he is going to get alongside of Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell was a full participant in practice on Friday. My assumption is that Kenneth Gainwell and, of course, DeAndre Swift may be the only active running backs. We already know that Boston Scott has been deemed out. Maybe they'll leave Rashad Penny active, but he's not going to get any sort of utilization. So my assumption ultimately is we're leaning in a direction where these two running backs are going to split touches. As to the percentage, if it's 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, we'll have to wait and see. I truly do believe that DeAndre Swift is the more talented back. As to whether or not the organization believes that, I guess we'll have to truly get a sense of the distribution of opportunity based on tomorrow's game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, let's see here. We have a question from after Nathan. We have Dragon. Dragon says, in a half PPR, Samaje Perine or Kendrick Trent. I think you meant Kendre Miller instead of Kendrick, but probably the autocorrect messed it up. I would play Kendre Miller there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Again, guys, rankings on screen are for a half PPR updated as of this morning. So Kendre Miller sits at ranking number, 31. Samaje Perine is outside of the top 36. So again, just keep that in mind. That's why I have it on screen, so I can help you guys to the best of my ability in terms of just trying to answer broad questions that are interpositional without having to specifically voice them. Hopefully the graphic on screen can answer those for me. Thank you. Gary in the chat says, if Burrow is 90% by Monday, where is T. Higgins ranked? So let's just put it this way. If Joe Burrow is 90% by Monday, Jamar Chase is an automatic play, and T. Higgins goes back from 25 to 16, and it actually maybe even 15. Yeah, I would say T. Higgins goes to 15, and it shoves Tyler Lockett down a slot. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So Tyler Lockett would get bumped one, and T. Higgins would fit into the number 15 spot there. Thank you. And obviously Jamar Chase would jump up to like ranking number, let's say, if Joe Burrow's active, let's say he's like number 8 at a pretty base, solid minimum 8. Okay, thank you. Let's see. We had a question come in from Brandon. Brandon says, in a full PPR, second flex, Rachaad White, Dell, Sutton, or Kendre Miller. In a full PPR between those 4 options, it's between White and Dell. Let me see who I have ranked higher in a full PPR. Control F, Dell. Where's Dell? Okay, so we have Tank Dell there. And we have Rachaad White. Where is he? Where is Rachaad White in comparison? Yeah, I have Rachaad White higher. Thank you. Moving on. We have the following from Buddha. Buddha Vendetta says, morning, Andrew. Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, Joshua Kelly, DJ Moore. I need to fill one wide receiver in one flex spot. I would probably play Joshua Kelly alongside of Zay Flowers there. Thank you. Appreciate it. 305 Raider comes back with a question. Says, Warren versus the Las Vegas Raiders or Tutu Atwell versus Cincinnati Bengals, full PPR. I would play Tutu Atwell there. Thank you. Trojan 3659 says, with with more workload hype over Jalen Warren. Yeah, I saw that this morning. Would you play him over Sanders or Jerome Ford? No, I mean, look, the assumption that I already had was that we're going to see a lot more Jalen Warren than we typically do going into the given week. That's why, from a player that has never been ranked within my top 36 rankings within weeks 1 through 3 thus far, Jalen Warren is now at 32. So I already had a creeping suspicion based on some of the reports that I read earlier on in the week and his overall performance from last week that there's going to be a potential in which he'll get more touches going forward. So, yeah, at this point, I'm leaning towards the idea of not playing him over those other two options. You certainly can if you'd like to, but I'm pretty comfortable as to where I have Jalen Warren in my mind. Also, you were saying it's hard to trust Sanders even in a good matchup. I mean, look, I honestly don't even think this is a good matchup for Sanders. I mean, the situation is purely going to be based on, can Andy Dalton sufficiently get this team down the field to at least give Miles Sanders, a rushing touchdown of upside. If he can't, then Miles Sanders probably sits where he is within his ranking by the end of the week specifically. But he'll get enough opportunity, probably like 15 plus touches, probably like 2 or 3 receptions. It's just a matter of, can that touchdown upside be met? I think in comparison, the volume of touches and the touchdown upside comparison to other guys, specifically like Warren, is higher, which is why he's ranked higher. All right, let's see here. We had a question that rolled in from, let's see here. We have Adam. Adam, thank you very much. Says, in a half PPR, would you play Madison or would you play Higgins? Again, under the assumption that Joe Burrow is out, I would play Madison. If Joe Burrow's in, it would be the other way around. But again, we don't know. Therefore, I'll err on the side of caution, and I'll just say, let's roll with Madison, and let's not worry about tomorrow unless, you have some sort of pivot option between the Eagles-Buccaneers game that you could potentially play, or another pivoting option in that afternoon game. Maybe you have like Tutu Atwell or T. Higgins, and you want to wait between one of those two and then play them. Thank you. Again, guys, like the only way that I would feel confident playing Joe Burrow going into the week would be if I have Matthew Stafford or Baker Mayfield for tomorrow. And if, in fact, Joe Burrow tomorrow afternoon, they say, you know what, he's not going to play, then okay, I have a pivoting option. Unless you're, ballsy enough to potentially even play the backup for Joe Burrow, which, I mean, that is as sketchy as it possibly gets, to be totally honest. I mean, if you want to play Jake Browning, be my guest. I just don't feel comfortable doing it against the Los Angeles Rams defense, who has looked pretty good this season comparatively. And then additionally, you can go ahead and still play the other options within the Cincinnati Bengals offense in the absence of Burrow, like Chase, Higgins, and Mixon. They are lesser options. Doesn't mean that they don't have the potential of scoring a touchdown. They certainly could do so. They could still have, efficient fantasy performances. It's just, it's not as enticing. I think the upside is capped because of the quarterback play ultimately. All right, let's see here. We had a question that rolled in from Gene Ramirez. Says, Sky Moore, Darnell Mooney, or Treylon Burks, pick one. I would play Sky Moore against the terrible Chicago Bears defense. Thank you. Eric Wright says, good morning. Fields or Wilson? I would play Justin Fields today. And then your follow-up question there was the following. Where did it go? Wilson versus Miami, intriguing matchup. Fields versus Kansas City scares me. To me, Wilson probably safer play, but undecided. I mean, look, I would agree with you 100% that it is the safer play. The only question is, can Wilson reach the overall upside? Cody F in the chat was saying, is volume working? Yeah, volume is working. So maybe refresh. I mean, I don't know if anybody, you probably even can't even hear me if your volume's not working. So yeah, I would say Russell Wilson's probably the safer option. Does he have more upside than Justin Fields? No. Is there going to be a scenario in which he could probably outscore Fields? Certainly. There's always the possibility. But I think that with all this, disastrous news and rumors and all these different headlines that surround the Chicago Bears, the fact of the matter is Justin Fields, over the course of the last 2 seasons, has proven he's slow to start. And then once, in fact, they get him involved in terms of designed runs, he begins to take over. Now, I can't guarantee that it's going to be today that they start giving him design runs, but I'm hoping, after 2 weeks of failing when not giving him design runs, they'll finally wake up and say, all right, you know what? This kid can literally only run an offense when we allow him to run for his life. So let him run, and hopefully it'll take place. Now, I prefer Fields. Again, you can play Russell Wilson, and it doesn't bother me. All right, let's see here. Defensive rankings, yeah, we'll go over it in about 8 minutes. So at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time or 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will once again present to you guys my top 12 kickers in defense going into the given week. Then we'll go ahead and subsequently mention those over the course of today's, overall, I guess, rankings Q&A segment, nonetheless. But if you guys haven't yet already, do me a favor, click the like button down below. Greatly appreciate it. All right, let's see here. We have the following. Eric Wright says, good morning. Okay, so we took Eric Wright. Perfect. David Ports says, in a full PPR, I have Burrow, Stafford, Mayfield. We have Jones. We have Mixon. We have Cooper. We have Flowers. We have Michael Thomas, Pickens, Stevenson, Mike Williams, Kirk, Brian Robinson, Moss. Pick 2 wide receivers, 2 quarterbacks, 2 flex, and 1 running back. Your quarterbacks are going to be determined as to whether or not Burrow even plays. If Burrow plays, you play him and Stafford. If he's out, then you obviously play Mayfield in his stead. As for your 2 running backs, you only have 1 running back starting spot. At that point, you probably just play Stevenson. As for your 2 wide receivers, I'm rolling with Flowers and Amari Cooper. And then who is your 2 flex options? 2 flex options will probably be playing. Is this a full PPR? Yeah. So in a full PPR, it probably ends up being Pickens and Kirk. All right, David? Hopefully that is all encompassing. You heard all that. Thank you very much, David. Appreciate it. Let's see here. AM in the chat was saying Jalen Warren or Tutu Atwell in a full PPR. Yeah, I'll take Tutu Atwell there. Let's see here. Gainwell over Mixon / Moss over Mixon with Burrow out. No, I would still play Mixon over Gainwell and Moss going into this week. Even in the absence of Joe Burrow, I think the absence of Joe Burrow probably leans them to running the ball even more. And if they're going to run the ball even more, it's not going to be like the Cincinnati Bengals are going to get completely shut out and score 0 points. They'll probably still end up putting like 10 to 13 points up on the board, and they'll have the upside of scoring a touchdown. And if the quarterback is in enough distress, he probably checks it down to Mixon enough times to where he'll find himself pretty solid value within the given week. So I'm not too worried about that. All right, let's see here. Toast says, what is that? I have Justin Jefferson, Pickens, Amari Cooper. Should I swap one for Brian Robinson? No. I mean, if you're playing in a full PPR, you probably keep it as such. I could justify playing Brian Robinson over Pickens in a half PPR. Let me go pull up my rankings. Let's see here. I'm fairly certain Brian Robinson. Yeah, I have Brian Robinson ahead of Pickens in a half PPR. So that's the only change I would potentially make. But yeah, I don't know what you're scoring from that, as you didn't end up mentioning it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Brett in the chat was saying, concerned about St. Brown and his toe. I mean, look, if he's going to be active, he has to kind of start. I mean, the issue is when you have these like stud options within your roster, unless you're playing in like an 8-team league and you have another comparable player that is within that overall ranking, like, oh, I have St. Brown, but I'm worried about him, and I also have A.J. Brown. Okay, well, then just play A.J. Brown. Then don't even worry about it, right? So, but in a lot of our situations, you have to play Amon-Ra St. Brown. Absolutely. The fact that he was able to get himself practice in over the course of the week, and the fact that he is active and going to be playing today, leads me to believe that we shouldn't be worried about it as much as, they are, which, again, it seems like they're not very much so concerned about his situation, as he is deemed that he is healthy enough to play. All right, let's see here. Roy Allen says, where are we at here? Javonte Williams or Chris Godwin? I'll probably take Javonte Williams there in a half PPR. Thank you. Spencer says, in a full PPR, I need a running back and a flex for Ramondre, Kelly, or Collins. In a full PPR, 1 running back and 1 flex. Yeah, I'll take... I want to play Ramondre over Kelly. I want to play Ramondre over Nico Collins. I just don't know if I have the strength to do it in a full PPR. Let me see here. Where do I have him accordingly ranked in a full PPR? So I'm going to play Kelly as the RB there. As for Nico Collins, comparatively to the one and only Ramondre Stevenson, I have Ramondre Stevenson at 28 and Nico Collins at 30 in a full PPR standing. So at that point, we play both the running backs. I like the idea of playing Nico Collins. I mean, it really is tough not to play him, but For now, yeah, I'll lean in the direction of both those running backs. Garrett Wilson or Gus Edwards. I'll take Gus Edwards there. Thank you. That was for Joel in the chat. Joel. Raven in the chat says AJ Brown or Nico Collins. 100% it's AJ Brown. Yeah. And I would confidently start that for sure. We move on. We had a question from Jack Darjean. He says, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jordan Addison, Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Swift, Godwin. I need 3 to start. No faith in Josh Jacobs. I know you may have no faith in Josh Jacobs, but I mean, he's a talented player. He is a really advantageous matchup, and I personally trust him. So I'd go with Josh Jacobs. I'd go with Jahmyr Gibbs, and I would also play James Cook. So all 3 of those guys. Thank you. Cooler Hand says, what's up, Andrew? Full PPR, Gabe Davis, Dotson, or Algier in the given week. In a full PPR, I'd play Gabe Davis. Thank you. Supreme Chi, full PPR. Start 2, Amari Cooper, Alexander Madison, Chris Godwin. Out of those options, do I have Madison ranked higher? I think I might. Madison. Let's see here. Where is Godwin? And then where is Madison? And where's the final option of these potential 3, which is Amari Cooper? So yeah, out of those 3 options, I would play Amari Cooper alongside Alexander Madison today. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on, we had a question from Aiden0815. He says, full PPR question, Ramondre Stevenson, Joe Mixon, Joshua Kelly, pick 2. I'd play Kelly and I'd play Stevenson. Thank you. Okay, so we're sitting around 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Like I mentioned, I'm going to go ahead and let's talk about my top 12 kickers and defenses going into the week. We'll go ahead and begin with talking about my top 12 kickers, okay? Here we go. We have number 1, Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, we have Jake Elliott of the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 3, Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens. Number 4, Nick Folk of the Tennessee Titans. We have number 5, Brett Maher of the LA Rams. Number 6, we have Cameron Dicker of the Los Angeles Chargers. We have number 7, Younghoe Koo of the Atlanta Falcons. We have number 8, Tyler Bass of the Buffalo Bills. You have number 9, Jason Sanders of the Miami Dolphins. Number 10, Brandon McManus of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 11, we have Jason Myers of the Seattle Seahawks. And number 12 can be, potentially rotated. It's either Harrison Butker for the Kansas City Chiefs or Daniel Carlson for the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay? Those are my 12 to 13 kickers. I almost said running backs. And then let's go ahead and let's talk about top 12 defenses. Defense and special teams. Number 1, Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, New England Patriots. Number 3, Buffalo Bills. Number 4, Baltimore Ravens. Number 5, New York Jets. Number 6, Kansas City Chiefs. Number 7, Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 8, Cleveland Browns. Number 9, Seattle Seahawks. Number 10, Los Angeles Rams. Number 11, New Orleans Saints. And number 12, Green Bay Packers. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's go ahead and let's continue on in terms of answering questions. I'll once again mention those in the future, but if you heard it loud and clear, fantastic. Let's see here. Tobias is saying, are you sure about Kelly this high this week? Yeah, I am sure. I mean, again, Minnesota's defense purely demonstrated to us that they have holes in their defense in terms of stopping the run. Swiss cheese. And DeAndre Swift ran for 175. And quite honestly, as good as the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is, the Los Angeles Chargers have a very good offensive line. They're not as elite. They don't have future Hall of Famers yet, but they certainly do have enough talent to be able to dominate and take advantage of the opportunity. So in comparison to your other options there, Tobias, which is Gainwell or Javonte or Breece Hall, like Gainwell, I can't guarantee he even touches the ball, much less how often he touches the ball. Because of DeAndre Swift there. Breece Hall, I can't guarantee he even touches the ball. The guy had 4 rushing attempts last week, so did Dalvin Cook, so we don't know exactly his utilization. Javonte Williams will get touches, but he's also in a backfield where Samaje Perine and Jaleel McLaughlin are taking touches away. So in the game going into this week, Minnesota versus the Los Angeles Chargers, which has the highest implicated total points scored, I think their total is about 49.5. Maybe it pushed to 50 at this point. We'll see. I would like to take one of the starting running backs in that game. All right, let's go ahead, get back to answering some of these questions. For those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome to this wonderful Sunday kickoff with Kiriakov for week 3 of the 2023 fantasy football season. If you guys have not yet already, do me a solid, click the like button down below. The rankings that are currently on screen are up to date as of this morning. Again, there's about 1,100, almost 1,200 of you in here. If you guys could click the like button and continue to increase that, it takes a half a second out of your day and it continues to support the channel for the entirety of the season. Thank you very much. What records in the chat was saying cheers from Italy, huh? I'll have to wait till 7 p.m. to watch football. Goodness. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful day. Which defense should I start this week? Jags or Seattle? I have the Jags higher, Daniel, like I was mentioning earlier. All right, let's see here. Pierce or Najee Harris? The issue with Dameon Pierce, guys, just so we're all on the same page, Dameon Pierce, for the second consecutive week, has 4 of his starting 5 offensive linemen out. So I'm not as keen in playing him comparatively to Najee Harris, so I'll take Najee there. Thank you. All right, let's see here. We had a question that rolled in from the following. Let's see here. Where is the question? So we took care of Aiden. Okay. 7B says full PPR flex play. Pittman, Ridley, Garrett Wilson, or Nico Collins. If I'm playing one out of those, okay, let's order them in a full PPR. Ridley number 1, Nico Collins 2, Pittman number 3, Wilson number 4. So Ridley would be the number 1 play. Thank you. EHOV Spy says, hey Andrew, happy, no, not happy, half PPR, but maybe it is a happy Sunday. Either way, start 3 between Nico Collins, DeAndre Swift, Gus Edwards, Mike Williams, Jerome Ford. Also, no Pat Freiermuth, top 16, no. There's nothing that Pat Freiermuth has done in the first 2 weeks of the season for me to feel confident about him even being a top 16 ranked player. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting as to what he ends up producing in the given week. I'm hoping for the best for him. I truly am. It's tough to trust it. It really is. Okay, so of your players here, Spy, in a half PPR, if I'm picking 3 of these players, I would like to play Gus Edwards alongside of Nico Collins and Mike Williams. Thank you. Andrew Clark says, Dameon Pierce, Kendre Miller, Sutton, Addison, Watson, full PPR, 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, and 1 flex. Okay, so of those available options, if I'm playing 1 running back, yeah, I mean, I'm still leaning towards the idea of Dameon Pierce. I think comparatively, if the team is to get themselves into a position where they can potentially, first and goal, Dameon Pierce probably scores a touchdown. In comparison to Kendre Miller, I'm worried that legitimately Taysom Hill steals that overall opportunity from him comparatively. So I'll take Dameon Pierce there. Now, if we're seeing where are we at here? Okay, so the other options you were mentioning were Sutton, Addison, Christian Watson. So I would play Addison as your wide receiver, and I would play Watson as your flex. So it would be Dameon Pierce, Addison, and Watson. Yeah, those are the 3. Thank you. Also, Andrew, I did see that you were saying in the chat, can't wait for next week's 6:30 a.m. stream. Yeah, probably. Next week begins the London game, so I'll probably be here bright and early, starting at 6:30 a.m. Maybe even earlier. I don't know. We'll see. Jade in the live chat was saying, are you confident in Godwin this week? I'm confident to an extent. I think his overall ranking, I have him at number 24. Like, I'm not over the moon about him because I think he really needs to score a touchdown to be in a half PPR sense better than these overall other, potential prospects. But I'm not against the idea of playing. I think he's got a great matchup, especially with Avonte Maddox, the primary nickel corner of the Eagles, out. It only helps his overall, potential upside. All right, let's see here. Stanley sends in a question. Thank you very much, Stanley. Greatly appreciate it. Half PPR. Do I start Tua? Should I start Tua, Arby's Mixon, and Algier with Saquon Hurt, Pittman, Zay Flowers, Kittle, flex Amari Cooper? My bench is Lockett, Atwell, Kareem Hunt, and Burrow. Okay, so Tua should play because, again, Burrow, we don't know if he's going to play or not. You don't have any alternative options for running back, so that's not a big deal. As for your wide receiver plays, I honestly would like to play Lockett in that situation. So, like, I out of all those options you have, I prefer Lockett over Pittman, but ultimately, I think they're all pretty solid wide receiver 2 options within the given week. But that's the only difference as to what I would potentially propose in a half PPR. Thank you. Gent in the chat was saying Swift or Gus Edwards in a full PPR, primarily because Swift doesn't see a lot of utilization out of the backfield in terms of receiving within the Eagles offense, mainly because, again, when you have a rushing quarterback, the tendency of that quarterback to check it down rather than run is relatively unlikely. So I would rather play Gus Edwards there for who was asking that in the chat again? That was Gent. Thank you. Let's see here. Kelsey22 was saying Christian Watson, Elijah Moore, Roshan Johnson in the chat. Between those 3 options, if I was to pick one, if Christian Watson's going to be active this week, I'd like to play him over the bunch. Thank you. All right, we move on. We have Mr. 305. He says, full PPR, pick 2, Christian Watson if he plays, Elijah Moore, Khalil Herbert, Sky Moore, Sam Laporta, Roshan Johnson, Tank Dell, Kendre Miller. In a full PPR, assuming Christian Watson plays, I'll take him and Tank Dell. If he doesn't play, I'd probably roll with Kendre Miller and Tank Dell. Thank you. Also, would you drop Deontay Johnson? No IR spot. I mean, he's already missed 1 week. He'll miss a second, so that means he'll come back at least by week 6. I would like to keep him. I don't know how many bench spots you have. I don't know how many teams your league is. With that all taken into account, again, if it doesn't serve you well, I guess you could drop him, but ultimately I would like to keep him. Let's see here. John in the chat was asking Hunter Henry or Amari Cooper. That is a really good question. I'd probably lean towards Amari Cooper, considering I like the matchup against Tennessee. Ultimately, Hunter Henry is going to be very much so touchdown dependent. He's very capable of scoring that touchdown, but touchdowns are the most impossible thing to try to predict in fantasy football. It truly is, right? It's the most difficult metric to predict, especially for tight ends. So I'll probably just take the yardage and receptions, counts that Amari Cooper could potentially, accrue over the course of the game, and his potential of a touchdown comparatively. Terry O'Hagan says, in a half PPR, start Najee Harris or Jerome Ford. Follow up, thoughts on St. Brown's status? He should be active. I'm not worried about it. Flex Christian Kirk for St. Brown. No, I wouldn't do that. Take the risk for Monday on T. Higgins. Thanks, boss. Okay, so of those 3 questions, let's go back to back to back. Najee Harris or Jerome Ford? I'd play Najee Harris just slightly ahead of him, but slightly is enough. I would continue to play St. Brown over Christian Kirk. And as for Higgins, or potentially waiting to play him, you could, but if you err on the side of caution, I think it's probably in your better interest to play Christian Kirk today with Zay Jones out against Houston's defense that has 2 of their, maybe 3 of their starting 5 secondary DBs out going into the given game. Jordan Green sends in a question, says, play Nico Collins or T. Higgins. I played Nico Collins. Again, I don't want to have to wait until tomorrow. I have Godwin. I can pivot on Monday for Higgins. Yeah, okay, so that's fine. So let's go ahead and let's play Nico Collins first and foremost, and then you can decide tomorrow between Godwin and Higgins. That's a great idea, Jordan. Thank you. Let's see here. David Matella in the chat was asking Hopkins or Evans. Again, rankings are on screen. Same thing with Bradley. The rankings are on screen, specifically updated as of today. Half PPR, top 36 running backs, wide receivers, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends. So I would play Evans over Hopkins. Between Goff and Burrow, Bradley, considering I'm expecting, or I'm erring on the side of caution, and I'm worried about the idea of Burrow not playing tomorrow, I would just play Goff. Andrew Clark in the chat was saying over under for the Vikings versus Chargers is now at 54.5. Is it really? Hold up. Let me go pull up my source. Is that actually how far it's pivoted total? Wow, it is 54.5. That thing went up 5 points just from yesterday afternoon to today. Yeah, so that game's going to be a shootout. I mean, Vegas knows they know their stuff for sure. Okay, moving on. Toast says Eckler is out. I have Najee, Ford, Warren. Add Kendre Miller. You don't have to. I don't think you need to play Kendre Miller out of the group. You certainly could play him over Jaylen Warren, but you don't have to. I mean, I have it in terms of a half PPR accordingly, as you can see it on screen, so you can go at it as such. E-Dub in the chat was saying Gibbs can become a legend if he outshines the other RBs from Atlanta today. Yeah, look, Gibbs is going to be given opportunity. Hopefully for our sake, it's goal line opportunity besides the receiving work and rushing work, but we'll have to wait and see how that kind of transpires. All right, let's see here. Skizzy says in a full PPR, Brian Robinson or Chris Godwin this week. Okay, so as for that question, first and foremost, Skizzy, where are we? Where's full PPR? Let's see my flex. Where's Godwin? Chris Godwin's there. Brian Robinson, I have ahead of him still. So I go with Brian Robinson there. As for your following, RBs are Henry. I have Ford and Brian Robinson Jr. as well. Would you drop Ford or Brian Robinson for Pierce or Mostert rest of the season? Ooh, would I drop them for most? No, I probably wouldn't. A-Chain's going to get more of a role as time continues, and Jeff Wilson Jr. coming back is also going to impede on Mostert's upside. So no, I'd keep what you have in the position. If you want a better play this week, I do think that Mostert against Denver is a fantastic play comparatively. But yeah, so that's the only comparative at the moment. Shaddy, thank you very much. Says James Cook Brian Robinson or Moss, full PPR. Yeah, if I had to choose one, I prefer James Cook out of the bunch. Even though he doesn't have as much touchdown upside in terms of the goal line utilization, he's getting so much opportunity and he's so efficient with that opportunity. Going up against Washington, I have a lot of faith that he'll be able to outscore the other two. Let's see here. Someone in the chat was asking, is Christian Watson playing today? You confident in him? Listen, so as to whether or not he plays, that'll be determined. My confidence level primarily revolves around the idea that Jordan Love has been able to get himself 6 passing touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. So if in fact we're in a situation where this offense is going to get back David Bakhtiari, Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, they're at a full capacity. And on top of it, if they just clean up their game just a slight bit against the New Orleans Saints, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the Green Bay Packers lead the National Football League in terms of most penalties by a team. So if they just clean up their game a little bit, it'll be not only a competitive game, but Christian Watson really just needs one play. The guy could end up making his entire fantasy week because of what kind of upside he has. So, I mean, if he's active, I'm confident that he's probably, in that wide receiver 3 range. That's why I have him there, because he has the upside of certainly getting into the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 1 conversation. But for now, I'll leave it as such. The Lost Adventurer says, in a half PPR 10-team league, I traded Rashad White and Roshan Johnson for Josh Jacobs. Fantastic trade. Well done. Marcos Rivera says, Miles Sanders and David Montgomery for Saquon Barkley. Again, it'll depend on what else you have at running back depth, but I'm willing to make that trade. The Dazed Full says 2 flex in a 12-team full PPR. Start 2 of these 3 options. We have Hopkins, Flowers, and Gus Edwards. In a full PPR scoring format, I think Gus Edwards is in line probably for like base. I think base minimum Gus Edwards probably finds himself with like 10 fantasy points. I think his like medium is like 12. His upside is like 14 to 16. In a full PPR, considering the format, I think probably there's a higher likelihood that both those wide receivers score, comparable amounts, if not more. So if I had to suggest it, I'd probably say go with Flowers and Hopkins in a full PPR. If it was a half PPR, I'd probably go Flowers and Gus. Thank you. All right, Daryl Bottoms. Nice to see you, Daryl. Thank you very much. Says, full PPR, Mike Williams or Christian Kirk today. I'll take Mike Williams in the higher scoring game of the day. Also, Gibbs, Mixon, or Kelly. If I had to pick one in a full PPR, I'd probably roll with Gibbs there. Thank you. We move on to Trojan. Trojan says, in a half PPR, 1 flex, we have Terry McLaurin, Damian Pierce, Dalvin Cook, Tutu Atwell, Elijah Moore. If I'm playing one in a half PPR, it's probably Tutu Atwell out of the bunch. Let's see, where do I have Tutu Atwell in comparison? Yeah, it's probably Tutu or it's Damian Pierce. I trust that Tutu Atwell probably be the better player out of the bunch. Andrew Clark says, it's raining in Baltimore. Well, it is raining right now, but in about 2 hours and 15 minutes, we'll go ahead and we'll check back in on that. But no, I appreciate you looking out. Probably in about like an hour, maybe 2, maybe at around like 9:30 a.m. PST, I'll check in on all the stadiums. Usually there's people like on Twitter that'll like be like the weather man in the stadium, like legitimately. And they'll give me an update as to whether or not, we can trust the weather being a disaster or not, potentially. Thank you. Nico Braun says, Miles Sanders or Josh Kelly? I'll take Josh Kelly this week. Thank you very much, Nico. Appreciate it. Trojan, we took care of your question. We move on to San Thomas 21. San Tom 21. Half PPR, Boyd, Cooks, Reynolds for the flex. If I'm playing one of those 3s, I will play, if I'm playing one of the 3, I'll play Craig Reynolds out of the bunch. So basically, you'll encapsulate the entire backfield production of the Detroit Lions in the given week there, Sam. Thank you. Caleb Rios says, Moss or Chase? Here lies the difficulty of this. I truly do believe I might still have Chase ranked higher, even in the absence of Burrow. Let me just go ahead and confirm this. Let's check Chase. Jamar Chase. Yeah, I still have Jamar Chase ranked higher in full PPR and a half PPR. So I'll roll with that. Zadrak, the legend, says, take 2 in a full PPR. Mostert, Kyron Williams, Pittman, Flowers. I'll take both the running backs there in a half PPR. Thank you. Appreciate it. Where is cool? Says, thoughts on Josh Jacobs rest of the season? Again, you guys got to remember that Josh Jacobs specifically did come back from, his entire kind of waiting, hey, I'm just going to kind of work out on my own. I'm not going to participate in training camp until I get a new contract. Then he eventually got a new contract. Vlad Sanchez, I haven't gotten to your question yet. I do see it on screen. It's in about two more questions and I'm at you. But in regards to Josh Jacobs rest of the season, he should be a top 12 back rest of the way. So if you can buy low on him, you should. Especially going into today's game, I do expect it to be a pretty favorable matchup for him. Somebody in the chat was also asking, I think that's Keelan. Keelan says, how does Akers affect Madison? Well, I don't believe Akers is playing today, so I don't think he affects him in the given matchup. But even if Akers was to play, I don't believe he probably has majority of the playbook under his, his memory to be able to even play within the given game. So I wouldn't really worry about it. Crazo says Nico Collins, Kelly, or Moss in a full PPR. I'm not playing Moss there. If it's between Nico and Kelly, I think it's probably safe. I mean, yeah, it's probably just safe to play the wide receiver there. Thank you. All right, so we move on to Vance Hicken. He says Dameon Pierce or Jahan Dotson full PPR. Don't love either. I don't either. If I had to pick one, I'd probably just roll with the running back. Thank you. All right, Vlad Sanchez says full PPR. D-Hop or Christian Kirk. Also Stroud versus Stroud or Carolina. Wait, what? Also Stroud or Carr. Carr without a double R. That's why. I would rather play CJ Stroud. I have him ranked higher in my rankings. Obviously, it's not on screen, but I have CJ Stroud ranked as my, let me go ahead and confirm this. CJ Stroud's my number 17 quarterback, and Derek Carr is my number 19. So that's first and foremost. I would rather play Stroud in the given week. As for your follow-up question, D-Hop or your prior question, D-Hop or Christian Kirk, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, where is it on screen? We have DeAndre Hopkins at 27, and I have Christian Kirk. Where do I have Christian Kirk? 22. So Christian Kirk would be the play over the alternative. Again, Zay Jones' absence certainly is going to play an impact as to the overall upside of targets that Christian Kirk is able to haul in, just like he did last week with 14 targets. Thank you. All right, let's see here. J-Mo in the chat was saying Puka Nacua, Keenan Allen, Kyron Williams, start 2 full PPR. I would play both of the receivers. I'd play Puka and I'd play Keenan Allen there. Thank you. Steve says, struggling to find my RB2 in flex in a half PPR. I have Sanders, Algier, Atwell, Ford. Or I could pick up Roshan Johnson, Gainwell, Reynolds, Rashid Shaheed, or Kendrick Bourne. No, I don't think you have to pick up anybody. I mean, honestly, I think it's just a matter of these guys finding themselves consistency. Out of the available options that you have in a half PPR, I think the best plays are probably Sanders and Ford there. Thank you. Kevin Jones says, are you concerned about Puka starting? Choosing between Puka Nacua or Mike Williams. No, I'm not concerned about it. Again, he popped up on the injury report last week, right? With the oblique injury, same injury. And then he got himself a limited participation in practice on Friday, just like he did this week. And the fact that he also plays on Monday, so he has an additional day of rest, perfectly comfortable with it. Puka has to start, guys. There are very, very few situations in which he doesn't for me. When you have a target volume of 15 targets week 1 and 20 in week 2, I mean, he's a set it and forget it kind of guy. All right, moving on. We had, after Kevin Jones, the next following question came in from Terry O'Hagan. Thank you very much, Terry, again. RB2, full PPR, Brian Robinson, DeAndre Swift, or Ford. Out of those 3 options, I'll play Brian Robinson. As for your follow-up question, Zay Flowers, Christian Kirk, or Josh Reynolds, I would play Zay Flowers there. Thank you. Moving on, we have Jack R. He says, hey, Andrew, in a full PPR, start 2, Mostert, Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson. I will take Mostert and Kenneth Walker. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Dave Curtis says full PPR, Puka, Nico Collins, Zay Flowers. If I'm playing 1 as your flex, it's Puka Nacua. Thank you. Chris Kreider says, hey, man, full PPR, Harris or London. In a full PPR, I would rather play Drake London over Najee Harris. Thank you. Double D23 says, we have Dameon Pierce and we have Kareem Hunt. Yeah, I'll play Dameon Pierce there. I don't expect Kareem Hunt to get that much of a utilization. Again, you got to remember he's coming off the couch. I mean, not off the couch, but you know what I mean. He wasn't with the team. He's not in probably full game shape. So I would take the opportunity of a starting running back over him. Jay Steve says, need 2 running backs. We have Pollard, Moss, Kelly, and Connor. So I would play Pollard and Kelly. You need 2 wide receivers as well, Jay. So you're saying Puka, DK, Mike Williams. Out of those 3 options, I will lean in the direction of playing Puka Nacua and DK Metcalf. And then as for your Where is your final option? I need one flex. Okay, so the way I would go about it, Steve, or Jay Steve, I would go Pollard, Kelly, Puka, DK, and Mike Williams. Thank you. Jake Pollard says full PPR, Nico Collins or Josh Kelly. Yeah, that one's going to be an interesting one. I mentioned that I do prefer Nico going into the given week. It probably ends up, or it doesn't probably end up being wrong, but it probably ends up being close between the two of them. Let me see. In a flex full PPR, where do I have Nico Collins comparatively to Josh Kelly? Yeah, so I have Kelly about 5 spots ahead of Nico Collins, just barely ahead in my flex rankings. And even then, I'm telling you to play Nico because I think in terms of a full PPR, it favors Nico Collins that much more. And if he doesn't score a touchdown, if he catches the ball 7 times for 70 yards, I'll take the 14 points rather than the risk. All right, let's see here. Someone in the chat was saying, are we starting Josh Kelly over Madison? Personally, yes, I am. Again, guys, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome to Kickoff with Kirchhoff, again, where I'm answering questions until the next 2 hours expire here for week 3 of the 2023 fantasy football season. On screen, we currently have rankings that are up to date as of this morning. The rankings are implying that I'm expecting Joe Burrow to miss on Monday, or I'm just leaning on or kind of erring on the side of caution to not even worry, like, hey, let's just assume he's not going to play unless you have a pivoting option. You don't play him as a quarterback. If I was to rank Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon as if Joe Burrow wasn't going to play, those rankings are on screen. I'm also implying the idea that Aaron Jones and Christian Watson are active today. That's the hope. And again, they were trending in that direction. So if you guys want up-to-date interpositional rankings, they're on screen. Hopefully I can answer your questions by proxy of somebody else's question, or be sure to go ahead and type it in the in the live chat regarding your scoring format, and or send in a super chat if you want to take priority in terms of the line, because there are a lot of people. Thank you. Also, while we're at it, there's about 1,400 of you. If you guys could do me a solid, click that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. It takes 2 seconds out of your day, maybe a half a second of effort, and it continues to support the channel at a great, you guys truly don't understand how much of an algorithm booster just clicking the like button is. So I greatly appreciate it if you guys could do me that favor. Appreciate it. Jojo says, what do you think about CJ Stroud this week? Sneaky start. Yeah, I have him as my number 17 ranked quarterback. So he was just right outside the conversation there. All right, let's see here. We had a question coming from Joseph Romero. Says, Lockett, Pickens, Flowers, pick 2. I will take Lockett and Flowers. Thank you. Christopher K says, you think Puka Nacua plays? Yes. Everything that has pretty much been reported implies that he's going to play. And the fact that he plays tomorrow, the additional day of rest, yeah, he'll certainly play. Harris says, flex full PPR, Nico Collins, Brian Robinson Jr., or Addison. I'll play Nico Collins out of that group. Thank you. Callie Maid says, Hall or Warren? Warren is playing a larger role. He may be. I've already implied for that overall potential. That's why I have him ranked where I do. In comparison, if you'd like to play him, you can. I'm going to play Breece Hall there. Thank you. Joey Boy says half PPR start 2 Flowers, Kelly, Godwin, Watson. I'll take Kelly and I'll take Flowers there. Thank you. Cinco2X says trade Puka Nacua high if you own Cooper Kupp, or keep and play both. My primary concern legitimately is if Cooper Kupp comes back and he gets injured again and you traded away Puka Nacua, and then you've pretty much given up a top 5 wide receiver for free or at a discounted price. So that's my only concern. So yeah, Park says, sent in a super chat before. You said your standings are with the understanding that Burrow is out. So kind of answered my own question there. Okay, sounds good, Perk. If you have another question, Perk, just let me know. Thanks. Let's see here. V says, love the channel. Full PPR, Goff or Mayfield. I prefer Goff going into the given week. Meyer, or I'm assuming that's Jacoby Myers, not Meyer, or Ford. And then the following question is Tucker or Aubrey. I have Aubrey ahead of Tucker. I have, in a full PPR, Meyer ahead of Ford, and I have Goff ahead of Mayfield. Thank you. Just Pearl Please says, Ferguson not in the top 12 tight ends. Hill or Ferguson? Hill over Ferguson? Yeah, I'll probably play Hill over Ferguson. The issue with Jake Ferguson is that if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's going to disappoint. And there's a lot of tight ends that kind of fill into that role. I just don't want to have to deal with that. I feel like Taysom Hill, the yardage that he's able to accumulate, not only off his rushing, but the potential in which he can throw a touchdown, catch a touchdown, and then obviously has himself just as much rushing upside near the goal line. I'm pretty confident that Hill is the better play. As for your follow-up question, Mingo, Reynolds, or Gainwell, I would play Josh Reynolds out of those group. Even if it's Craig Reynolds, I'd play Craig Reynolds. So both of those Lions Reynolds will take. Thank you. John Marino says, bad weather in Baltimore. Still play Lamar over Tua. Again, like I was mentioning earlier, we're going to have to wait in about an hour and a half. I'll look into what the weather looks like in all those games. Obviously, let's see here, NFL weather report. If we go ahead and look at it, in terms of what the expectation is, the Baltimore Ravens game, where art thou? Where is it on this list? It says 83% chance of rain, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to have to wait and see. Again, the 83% chance of rain, we've seen it before in seasons past, in weeks past, in which we'll all like worry prior to the game. Oh my God, it's going to be a rain game. This is terrible. Let's not start these guys. And then we decide not to. I go over to the other room, I turn on NFL Red Zone, and there's no rain in sight. So we'll have to wait until literally before the game starts. TC says, full PPR, I need 2 flex options. Ertz, Brandon Cooks, Craig Reynolds. I will take Reynolds and Ertz going into the given week. Thank you. Shay says, who should I start, Madison or Hawkinson full PPR? I would play TJ Hawkinson there. Thank you. Nash says Joshua Kelly or Mike Williams in a full PPR. Really good question. I'm fairly certain, if I'm not mistaken, full PPR. Let's check. Yeah, this is the tough part. I think Mike Williams probably can outscore him. Man, that matchup is so good for Josh Kelly. Let's go with Mike Williams. I think Mike Williams could actually outscore him. They'll probably both end up scoring very, similar numbers. The touchdown upside is certainly going to sway it one way or the other, but for now, yeah, let's lean towards Mike Williams. Thank you. Stephen Bowen, thank you very much, Stephen, says, hey, Andrew, I need a wide receiver and 2 flex options for this week. We have Gabe Davis, Michael Thomas, Garrett Wilson, Roschon Johnson, Josh Reynolds, and Gibbs. Thank you very much. Or I can go get Reynolds. No, so you should play Jahmyr Gibbs first and foremost as one of your flex options. And then the 2 wide receivers that I'm leaning towards is most likely it's probably Garrett Wilson and Michael Thomas, depending on what the weather looks like are they playing in New York today or is it in New England? Let me see here. The weather for the Jets game is in New York, 81% chance of rain. We'll see in about 2 hours from now what that weather looks like. If it's a complete disaster rain game and there's no chance of even throwing the ball, then we'll just pivot from Garrett Wilson to Gabe Davis there. Thank you. All right, John S. sent in a super chat, but there wasn't anything attached to it. John, if you could do me a solid and type in the chat what your question was, because it wasn't attached to your super. Thank you. Hudat says full PPR, Madison or Hall. I'll take Madison there. In the chat, we also have Imari. He says Tank Dell or DeAndre Hopkins this week. I'll take DeAndre Hopkins. We also had Twisted Piper. He said Kendre Miller, Rashid Shaheed, or Cortland Sutton this week. Out of those 3 options, that's actually a good one. I'd probably end up playing Rashid Shaheed out of that group. Thank you. Justice Watkins says full PPR, Gabe Davis in the flex or Godwin or Watson if he goes. I would probably lean towards just the safer play of Chris Godwin out of the 3, even if Watson goes. That's kind of the direction I'm leaning in. We had another follow-up question from Stephen Bowman, said, forgot to say it's full PPR. Okay, if it's a full PPR, yeah, we would keep it as such, though. Yeah, we'd keep it as such. So it's still going to be Gibbs, Wilson, Thomas. If not Wilson, we move to Gabe Davis. Thank you. Saya says, full PPR, start Addison or London. In a full PPR, that one makes it a little bit interesting. There is a potential in which Drake London could get more receptions, but I think ultimately I probably still stick with Addison within a full PPR scoring format. Thank you. Dave Curtis says, trade Collins and Puka Nacua for Diggs. It depends what kind of league you're in. It truly depends. Because, quite frankly, I have a hard time thinking that goodness gracious, what is that, a hair in my eye? I'm going blind. I have a hard time thinking that the Houston Texans stop throwing the ball this season. They'll probably throw the ball for the remainder of the year. So if you have enough depth to be able to compensate for the absence of Puka and Nico Collins, I'd say okay, but I think it's very unlikely that you will. Johnny Moss says, when's the next time you're going to mention kickers and defensive rankings? Okay, so I will mention kicker and defensive rankings if we can get to potentially 700 likes. What does that require? That requires, I mean, there's 1,400 of you in here. We should be able to blow past that, right? Surely. Yeah, surely. So yeah, we should be able to get there. Rob Castle, I think I haven't gotten to your question yet, Rob. So, let me check. Rob Castle, where art thou? Where art thou? Question. Yeah, we haven't gotten to your question yet. We'll get there in just a moment. All right, thank you, Rob, for your patience. Appreciate it. All right, so we had a question that came in from Black Jesus. He says, full PPR. Starting the flex, we have Miles Sanders, James Cook, or Tyler Lockett. Out of those three options, I'll probably end up playing James Cook first, then Tyler Lockett second, Miles Sanders third. Thank you. Jose Torres says, start three, full PPR, Puka, Olave, Drake London, Addison, Myers, Hollywood. I would play Puka Nacua number one, Chris Olave number two, and Jordan Addison number three. Thank you. Rockout says, play or drop Ferguson for Otten / Taysom Hill full PPR. In a full PPR, I'll take Cade Otten there on Monday against the Philadelphia Eagles, who cannot stop opposing tight ends or the passing game thus far this season. Let's see here. We have the following. Where are we at? We had Rock Out. He said, okay, so we took a Rock Out. GBG Grizzly says, traded Adams for Chase. Thoughts? I'm fine with that. Again, upside overall, when we get a healthy Burrow eventually, you'll be fine. Sam Burrell says, full PPR, 2 wide receivers in a flex, Ridley, Nacua, Collins, Addison, Cook. I don't know which Cook that is. Is that Brandon Cooks? Is it Dalvin Cook? Is it James Cook? We don't know. But for now, assuming it's probably one of the lesser options, we'll say Ridley, Collins, and Nacua as your 3 players there, Sam. Thank you. Perk says full PPR, Addison, Chase, or Christian Kirk. In a full PPR, I'd like to play Jamar Chase. I think if you want to err on the side of caution, you could play Christian Kirk, but I think I'd probably just keep Jamar Chase in the lineup regardless of whether or not someone like Joe Burrow plays. But that's just my risky nature of assuming that his talent supersedes regardless of, who's playing at quarterback. Yeah, thank you. We had a question from Colin Smith. He says, Josh Reynolds, JSN, or Antonio Gibson? Yeah, give me Josh Reynolds there. Thank you. AO Royale says, please pick 2 PPR, Rashad White, Jacoby Myers, Joshua Kelly, and Jalen Warren. I will take Joshua Kelly and Rashad White there. Thank you. Appreciate it, Royale. Daryl Bottom says Mixon or Kelly. I'll take Kelly there. Thank you. Sergio Soto says pick 3 out of the available wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Chris Olave, Jordan Addison, Mike Williams. Give me A.J. Brown, Olave, and Mike Williams. Thank you. Dave says, I traded Madison for Cooper before Akers trade. Okay, very well. Thoughts? I mean, ultimately, I think it's going to depend, right? Depends what Alexander Madison has a chance today to kind of put up or shut up. Like, hey, I'm either going to play a good enough game to where I can fend off Cam Akers and his efforts in the coming weeks, or my season ends tonight. So for now, yeah, I'll take that. The number one option of a Deshaun Watson-led offense that is going to have to throw more because of, unfortunately, Nick Chubb's absence. Yeah, I'll take that trade for sure. Also, Breece Hall, Judy, Swift, or Terry in a half PPR flex. If I'm playing one of those 4 options, I'll play DeAndre Swift. Thank you. Jason Cook says full PPR. I need an RB2. Ford or Madison? Give me Madison into the given week. Thank you. Colin Smith says start Geno with the uncertainty of Burrow. Yes, you should. Again, like I'll mention once more, unless you guys have Baker Mayfield or Matthew Stafford on roster, even then, Geno Smith is going to be ranked right next to Joe Burrow, even if Joe Burrow plays. So at the moment, you might as well just play the quarterback options within that like top 12 list as of this current moment in time. And if you'd like to, you can wait on Burrow if you have players like from 13 beyond and you have a pivoting option, I guess. Let's see here. We had Stephen Bowman. Follow-up question says, saw Bateman has hit on the waiver wire. Okay. Should I add him and drop Josh Reynolds? No, I don't think Rashad Bateman is somebody that I'm getting too excited about in terms of a pickup and play. Thank you. Appreciate the question. Rob Castle sends in a question, says, concerned about my running backs, starting Gus Edwards. My bench consists of Dameon Pierce and A. Brown. Who's A. Brown? Let's see here. We have A.J. Brown. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown. We have Marquise Hollywood Brown. Which other? There's no other Brown. So A. Brown would probably have to be either Amon-Ra or A.J. Brown, which doesn't make any sense. Or I can pick up who the heck is Brown at running back? Am I crazy? Am I forgetting someone? who have I forgored? Anyway, or I can pick up Kenneth Gainwell and start over Hunter Henry or Tank Dell or Robert Woods. Gus Edwards should play at running back. As for your follow-up idea of start Hunter Henry or Tank Dell or Robert Woods, yeah, no, I'm not picking up Kenneth Gainwell to play him over any of those three options. Thank you. Jesse sends in a question, says, trade Darren Waller and Zay Flowers for Mike Evans. I have Henry. I'm okay with that. That works for me. I mean, I don't love it because I think that Evans is eventually going to come back down to the earth, and Zay Flowers could be solid, but ultimately, I still feel like it could work out for you. Again, reminder, guys, if we can get to 700 likes, it's about 1,500 of you in here. We'll go ahead and once again mention the top 12 kickers in defense going into the week. Thank you very much. Jared sends in a question, says, why is Swift higher than Ford? Primarily because of the matchup against Tennessee. That's the primary reason. And if in fact that, Tennessee Titans defensive line plays as well as they typically do, it's going to be a really tough week for Ford to have an upside performance in comparison. Thank you. We have Phil, who says Aaron Jones, Jahmyr Gibbs, Kenneth Walker, Jerome Ford. I was thinking about starting Walker and Gibbs, but Jones has an interesting matchup. Thoughts? At the moment, let's wait and see if Aaron Jones is even active. I think it probably, in terms of safety, the safest play is to play Walker and Gibbs, right? Because Jones is coming off an injury. There could be the potential of him re-aggravating that injury, and then we're in some situation. But, yeah, at this point, let's just wait and see if he's active. Otherwise, keep Kenneth Walker and Gibbs in your lineup until then. Rob Castle says Antonio Gibson. Sorry, yeah, don't worry about it. You're fine. Antonio Gibson is not a startable option. In fact, he's a droppable player going forward. You could probably drop him for Kenneth Gainwell and just keep him on roster. Let's see here. We had a question from, where was the following question? Ulysses Ventura. Thank you very much, Ulysses. Nice to see you. He says full PPR. Tight end. I'm sorry. I have tight end of Pitts. My flex options are Najee Harris. My second flex option is Ertz. Okay. We have Chuba Hubbard. We have Elliott, and we have Claypool. Okay. So at this moment, yeah, I would play Harris and I'd play Ertz as your flex options. You're good to go there. Thank you. Nico Collins or Pickens? I'd play Nico Collins. Again, guys, for those of you who are joining us this morning on this wonderful Kickoff with Kirchhoff Sunday for the 2023 Fantasy Football Season Week 3, we have updated rankings on screen to the right side of the screen. Good to go. As for my top 36 running back and wide receiver rankings in a half PPR capacity, top 16 quarterbacks and tight ends. Now, we were just recently able to hit 700 likes. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate you guys helping us accomplish that. Hopefully, we can get to 1,000 by today's live stream. But like I promised, let's go ahead and let's mention top 12 kickers and defenses going into the given week. We're going to start with kickers. I'm going to mention the player's name and the team that they're associated with. If, in fact, me just saying the name doesn't immediately trigger, I know who Brandon Aubrey is, for example, because you may not. So, number 1 is Brandon Aubrey. He plays for the Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, Jake Elliott of the Eagles. Number 3, Justin Tucker of the Ravens. Number 4, Nick Folk of the Titans. Number 5, Brett Maher of the Rams. Number 6, Cameron Dicker of the Chargers. Number 7, Younghoe Koo of the Falcons. Number 8, Tyler Bass of the Bills. Number 9, Jason Sanders of the Dolphins. Number 10, Brandon McManus of the Jaguars. Number 11, Jason Myers of the Seahawks. Number 12 is a little bit of a 50-50 split between Daniel Carlson of the Raiders and Harrison Butker of the Kansas City Chiefs. So those are top 12, 13 kicker rankings going into the week. Thank you. Now let's talk about defense as top 12, shall we? Number 1 is Dallas Cowboys. Number 2 is New England Patriots. Number 3 is Buffalo Bills. Number 4 is Baltimore Ravens. Number 5 is New York Jets. Number 6 is Kansas City Chiefs. 7 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. 8 is the Cleveland Browns. 9 is the Seattle Seahawks. 10 is the Los Angeles Rams, assuming Joe Burrow is out. 11 is the New Orleans Saints. And number 12 is the Green Bay Packers. Again, a couple of the waiver wire potential pickup and plays in terms of defense. If somehow, some way the New England Patriots are available against the Jets of all teams, yes, they should be picked up. But in terms of the wider spectrum of availability, Kansas City Chiefs, Jacksonville Jaguars, Seattle Seahawks, LA Rams, those will be the top 4 in terms of pickup and plays for the given week for those of you who are streaming defenses going into week 3. Thank you. All right, let's see here. We have a question that came in from CardsFan21. Nice to see you again. Thank you very much. Says Waller an automatic starter, or is it time to worry? Man, it's tough to say because week 1 was a complete blowout, and in this last week it was a complete blowout, right? So it's just, I would say there is conversation to worry because he should see far more targets than he is. So I'm not going to say that I'm not worried. I am, but I'd still give him more chances to kind of redeem himself because the tight end position as a whole is so garbage. I'm not surprised that Waller's having himself, kind of underwhelming performances in the given weeks. Thank you. Austin says, Alien series or Predator series? That's a good question. I'm going to be totally honest, probably Alien. I think outside of Arnold in the original Predator, I would probably lean towards Alien. I think there's probably better overall movies, even going into Prometheus and all those kind of stuff. Even though I don't like Prometheus that much, they're just better overall. Thanks for the question, Austin. Appreciate it. LA Made 99 says the following question. Waddle is out. Should I start Tutu Atwell or Jerry Jeudy? Really good question. Between those two options, I like Tutu Atwell just slightly ahead of Jerry Jeudy. Thank you. We move on to the following question. Spencer Goldberg. Thank you very much, Spencer. Spencer says, hi. Who would you start in the flex? Miles Sanders or Nico Collins? I would start Nico Collins. Thank you. Jay Holly 203 says Warren or Tutu Atwell in a full PPR. I'll take Tutu there. Thank you. Let's see here. Michael Holt says Joshua Kelly, Nico Collins, Amari Cooper. I need one wide receiver and one flex. I will play Joshua Kelly as your flex. As for what do I do between Nico Collins and Amari Cooper? Where do I have him on ranked on screen? Amari Cooper number 20 and Nico Collins is number, where is he? 17. So yeah, I'll take Nico Collins there. Thank you. Moving on, we have a question from Billy DeVito. Says Jordan Addison or Josh Kelly. Give me Josh Kelly there. Thank you. Lemire says flex Pickens, Shaheed, Swift, Najee Harris, Flowers. Out of those options, let's say it's a half PPR. Let me go check. Actually, let me cross-reference. If it's a full PPR, it's Flowers automatically. But let me just check. Is Flowers ahead of Swift in my half PPR rankings? Flowers is there, and where's Swift? Where's Swift? Okay, half PPR. Yeah, Flowers is the number one amongst all those options. Thank you. We move on to Joshua Scully. Yeah, Joshua Scully says full PPR: Pickens, Swift, Godwin, Sanders. Out of those options in a full PPR, I probably play George Pickens there. Thank you. The Ocho says half PPR, Godwin or Kirk. And then follow-up question, Godwin or Watson. In a half PPR, I would lean towards playing probably Christian Kirk in the first scenario against Chris Godwin, and then Chris Godwin over Christian Watson, primarily because Christian Watson's a little bit of a make or break play based on his injury. So for right now, it would be Kirk in the first team, Ocho, and Godwin in the second team. Thank you. Marwin says, love the videos, Andrew. Just got Alexander Madison, so should I start him, Sanders, Hopkins, or Michael Thomas in a full PPR? All right, let me go ahead and let me see where I have Hopkins comparatively in a full PPR format. So if I check Control F on my spreadsheet, Hopkins is at 47. Madison's at 41. So yeah, I would play him over. Yeah, I'd play him over the bunch. Thank you. Mo Val says, Isaiah Pacheco or Breece Hall. I would play Isaiah Pacheco. I know that earlier in the week, there was an indication or the kind of worry that his hamstring injury was going to potentially hold him out in the given game. He was able to get in practices on Thursday and Friday. He is cleared, ready to go. So I would play Isaiah Pacheco over Breece Hall in the given week. Thank you. Mahomes or Cousins, says TC. I'm playing Mahomes there. September Mahomes is a monster, so I'll take him against the worst defense in the NFL. SS in the chat was saying, good day, Andrew. Half PPR, Madison, Warren, or Swift? In a half PPR, as you guys can see on screen, I have updated rankings as of this morning. So if we go ahead and observe the rankings, number 15 is Alexander Madison, and we have Swift at 21. And who was your other option there? Your other option was Warren, and that's at 32. So Madison will be the play. Thank you. All right, we move on. We have Papayone says, pick 2, full PPR, Miles Sanders, Josh Kelly, Christian Kirk. Give me Kelly and Kirk. Thank you. Will Peterson says, half PPR, Michael Thomas, DJ Moore, Kendre Miller. I will take probably DJ Moore out of those 3. Thank you. Evolve Minds and Muscle says, full PPR, start Dalvin Cook, Craig Reynolds, or what is that? Kenneth Gainwell. I'll take Craig Reynolds out of the 3. Thank you. We have Eric that sends in a question. Says, in a half PPR, play Jacoby Myers over Tyler Lockett. I wouldn't, no. As the follow-up, Dak Prescott a safe quarterback option. I think he's beyond a safe quarterback option. The guy was literally 31 of 38 passing last week, if I'm not mistaken. What's the ratio there? In terms of a passing completion percentage, that's 82% last week against the Jets secondary. Dak Prescott's a very solid player quarterback. That's why I have him ranked where he is. Thank you. Appreciate it. Alrighty. Let's see here. What is our next question? We have Steve-O. 150886 says full PPR, flex position, Sanders, Judy, Moore, Addison, Ford. Out of those options, I would play I'd play Jordan Addison out of that group. Thank you. Is that Pima? Pima in the chat says Nico Collins or Sanders. I'd play Nico Collins there. Steven in the chat was saying half PPR, Swift, Ford, or Pickens in the flex. I'd probably play Swift there. Let's see here. Someone was asking New England defense or Cleveland. I'll take the New England Patriots. Thank you. Decode says Lockett or Josh Reynolds in the chat. I will also take Lockett there. Daniel says Jordan Addison or Brian Robinson in a full PPR. That's a really good question. I probably, man, the full PPR makes it tricky. And so does the goal line upside of Brian Robinson. All right, let's see here. Where do I have them ranked comparatively in a full PPR? Brian Robinson's at 42 and Jordan Addison's at 50. So I play Brian Robinson there. Thank you. So we move on to German Primetime. Says, my quarterback for the future, Watson, Stafford, Dak, or Love. I'd like to have Dak Prescott. They're not going to always be playing in these blowout games. They're going to be playing more competitive games in the future. And when they do, he'll be throwing for more touchdowns than he normally does. Thank you. Craig Reynolds or Garrett Wilson in a non-PPR, says Danny Navarro. I would play Craig Reynolds there. Thank you. Tony says full PPR, Brian Robinson Jr. or Elijah Moore. I'll play Brian Robinson. Thank you. Pete Moss says full PPR, Davis. I'm assuming that's Gabriel Davis, and then or Swift. Now that Gainwell is back in a full PPR. Let's see, where do I have them comparatively ranked? I probably end up going with Swift anyway, but so I have Gabriel Davis at 62 in comparison to DeAndre Swift at 52. So they're 10 spots separated within the given week. Do I feel confident enough regarding Swift? Yeah, I mean, in a full PPR, I'll still take it. I'll still take Swift over Gabe Davis. I think Gabe Davis has just as much upside, but he also has a relatively volatile floor. Jordy Peasy, what's up, Jordy? Says pick one, Jacoby. Jordy, aren't you a part of Patreon? You have rankings, man. Just go to the Patreon and download them. I posted screenshots and an Excel file that has all the rankings for half and full PPR. But anyway, Jacoby Myers, Warren, Jahan Dotson, Craig Reynolds, AJ Dillon, pick one. If I'm playing one out of this group, assuming it's a half PPR, it's between Craig Reynolds and Jacoby Myers, which is probably going to end up being Craig Reynolds in the given week. Thank you. GK says full PPR, Tutu Atwell, Hall, Kendre Miller, Connor, Khalil Herbert. Out of those potential options, it's between Connor and Tutu. Let me go ahead and let me reference my full PPR. Tutu Atwell is at 54. And Connor, where art thou, Connor? Where's Connor? Connor's at 48. So Connor is just slightly ahead. Thank you. We move on to James Trucking. Says, hello. Hello with one L. Hello. Standard, pick one flex. Miles Sanders, Gus Edwards, Jerome Ford, Nico Collins, okay, Christian Kirk. In a standard scoring format, I'd play Gus Edwards out of that group. Starting Christian McCaffrey, Pollard, Keenan Allen, Amon-Ra. Thank you. Yeah, you're good to go. Gus Edwards. Thank you. Javarius sends in a question, says half PPR, Aaron Jones, Tutu Atwell, Jacoby Myers. Under the assumption that Aaron Jones plays, he would play. If he doesn't play, it's Tutu Atwell. Thank you. Walker 5530 says, good morning, Andrew. Can you help with my wide receivers this week? Absolutely. Full PPR, pick two. Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Nico Collins, Jordan Addison. Out of that group of receivers in a full PPR format, I go Nico Collins and Amari Cooper. I think Jordan Addison probably has himself a pretty solid week here, along with Chris Godwin, but in comparison to the other two receivers and the overall volume of opportunity in terms of targets that they're going to be given in the matchups that they have, yeah, I'll take Nico Collins and Amari Cooper there. Thank you. Yoshimitsu says, or Yoshimitsu, that's probably the actual pronunciation, but the question is, Mostert or Trevor Lawrence full PPR Superflex? I 100% of the time lean in the direction of playing a quarterback in the Superflex. So I'm going to go in that direction. Thank you. Cody Wheelot says, full PPR, play Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Khalil Herbert, Zach Moss, or Juwan Johnson this week. I would play Zach Moss. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And happy Sunday to you as well. From Ground Up Investing says, full PPR, pick two, Zach Moss, Breece Hall, Jerry Jeudy. I'd probably end up playing does whatever a Spider-Man does. Okay, so between the bunch here, let's go see where I have Jerry Jeudy in comparison to those two running backs in my full PPR rankings. Judy's at 55. Zach Moss is at 51. Breece Hall, where art thou, is at a far lower spot. So it's Moss and it is Jeudy. Thank you. We have Alan Cromer says, in a full PPR, Andrew, I traded Puka Nacua for Ridley. Okay, that's fine. Did I win or get fleeced? No, I don't think you got fleeced in any sort of capacity. Ridley's going to be a top 12 player for the rest of the season. Under the assumption that Kupp returns and stays healthy, Puka Nacua will be a far lesser player than Ridley. Therefore, it is a W under those reservations. But until we get there, that's what we'll have to kind of base it as. It is a W. What do we have here? New update. What is this? Come on. I just want to make sure my camera doesn't unlock when I drink water in terms of its focus. Okay. Any new updates? No. Okay. Okay, nothing yet. We're fine. Moving on. For those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. If you guys could do me a solid, if you have not yet already, click the like button down below. Greatly appreciate the support in regards to continuing to allow me to bring you guys content every single Sunday morning for the entirety of the 2023 season. Additionally, if you guys are wondering with an interpositional rankings, we have rankings on screen as of today, up to date, under the assumption that Joe Burrow doesn't play and that Christian Watson and Aaron Jones will be active. So with those assumptions available, these are the rankings that I have on screen going into the given week and a half PPR scoring format. Hope you guys appreciate those rankings. I will once again mention kicker and defensive rankings once we can potentially hit maybe 800 likes, maybe, potentially. That'd be greatly appreciated. We only need 24. I mean, we're almost there. And then we'll go ahead and we'll go over that once again at 8:30 p.m. PST. Thank you. I appreciate it. Andrew Clark says, Laramie Tunsil is out today. Yes, that was already established. If you guys want to know some of the players that I did a lot of digging in terms of injury reports this week. Every week I do this just for my own sake. I put together a week 3 injury report. Like in terms of teams that are missing a lot of players, right? Like there is a chance, a very high likelihood that Cordero Patterson is not going to play this week once again. Marlon Humphrey is out again. Marcus Williams is out again. Those are both secondary members of the Baltimore Ravens. So that bodes very well for Michael Pittman Jr. Tyler Linderbaum, Ronnie Stanley, 2 of the starting offensive linemen for the Baltimore Ravens are out. We know Odell Beckham is out. We know Justice Hill is out. Bryce Young, obviously. Eddie Jackson is out for the Chicago Bears. On top of the fact that Kyler Gordon is going to the injured reserve. That's 2 of their starting secondary members. We know that there is a likelihood that Irv Smith doesn't play, which obviously boosts up the other receiving options. Greg Newsome, the second corner of the Cleveland Browns, is going to be out. Zach Martin. And so basically there is a very high likelihood that 3 of the starting linemen for the Cowboys end up missing this game. just putting it out there doesn't mean you're not starting Tony Pollard. Just be aware of that as a possibility. But yeah, there's a lot of injuries. Who else is another like significant injury that? Oh, the Seahawks had themselves a handful that were quite significant. Jamal Adams is not going to play. Tariq Woolen is not going to play. Kobe Bryant is not going to play. All three of those secondary members not playing. Quandre Diggs is not going to play. They're missing an entire secondary. So if there was ever a week for Adam Thielen to do anything, we would hope. Anyway, moving on. We had Nash. Okay. Here we go. Nash's question says, Amari Cooper ranking the Titans matchup. Explain Amari Cooper's ranking in the Titans matchup. I mean, it is, I think it's self-explanatory, but if it's not, this is the assumption, right? So as of right now, the Tennessee Titans, considering how incredible they are at stopping the run, I think it's abundantly clear over the course of not only this season, but last season, the Tennessee Titans, front seven, Danico Autry, Jeffrey Simmons, these are the best of the best in terms of defensive linemen, linebackers that know how to stop the run, okay? Considering how good they are at stopping the run, it forces opposing offenses to have to throw the ball for the entirety of games. So when that takes place, there's a lot of statistics gathered. On top of it, the Tennessee Titans secondary doesn't really have much, support. They have some players that they've addressed, picked up, signed, drafted. Ultimately, they're still giving up 42.3 fantasy points per game this season to opposing wide receivers. Excuse me. Thus far this season, they've allowed 38 receptions, 476 receiving yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns to opposing wide receivers in just 2 games. Just putting that into perspective, it's a really good matchup, especially now that you do not have Nick Chubb. It forces Deshaun Watson to have to throw the ball for the entirety of the game. Literally has to. VSVP says, worried about CJ Stroud's shoulder? No, not worried about it. He was cleared. So as soon as he's taken off the injury report, it helps. All right, so we were able to surpass 800 likes. I greatly appreciate that. Let's go ahead, and in about a minute, we're going to go ahead and mention our kicker and defense rankings once again. I appreciate y'all. Christian Watson is officially inactive going into week 3. Let me go ahead and read the inactive list. Aaron Jones, inactive. David Bakhtiari, wait. Are they all out? Jair Alexander is out? Jair Alexander? Wow, hold up. Is this... Sheesh. So yeah, the Green Bay Packers will be without Aaron Jones, David Bakhtiari, Christian Watson, and their primary star, number 1 corner, Jair Alexander. Therefore, Andrew needs to go ahead and update rankings. So let me go ahead and let me open up Photoshop here because Andrew's got... Actually, you know what? Before I even get to Photoshop, I need to go adjust the rankings on screen. So I need to remove Aaron Jones. Goodbye, my good sir. Aaron Jones is gone. I have to move up everyone subsequently a little bit. I need to move A.J. Dillon up a considerable amount, considering he will be the star running back of this team going into today. I need to adjust it accordingly. I need to also get rid of Christian Watson. I need to also move down Jordan Love 1 spot. Yeah, I'd probably play Stafford ahead of him in that given circumstance. Let me see here. Where is... Actually, we'll just leave the quarterback. I'm not going to even worry about the quarterback for now. We need to worry about running back here. So, where's A.J. Dillon? I got to copy. Okay, let's move him over here. We'll play A.J. Dillon here. And then, where's Christian Watson on this list? Christian Watson's there. I need to grab Romeo Doubs. I need to move him up in my rankings. So, Romeo Doubs will probably enter in the conversation probably around here. So... we'll play it as such. You know what I want to do, actually? Let's do this. Does that work? I think that works. Okay. Now I can open up my Photoshop. Apologies for the delay. Again, the whole reason for me delaying is I need to go ahead and get rid of some of the players that are not active. Officially inactive: Cam Akers, Salvin Ahmed, Cordero Patterson. Officially active: Amon-Ra St. Brown. Cool. That's good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, let's go ahead. Let me update the rankings on screen so that we're good to go. Let's grab my top 18. Let's go ahead and adjust it accordingly. Boom. It's just going to move up a couple players. It's not going to make a huge differential. Ultimately, it just moves up A.J. Dillon Doesn't make that big of a difference ultimately, but just wanted to do it so that we don't really have any questions or Confucius in regards to the situation, and then move up Romeo Dobbs accordingly as well. And then we're good to go. Okay, file, save as copy. I need to save it as a JPEG file, and we are good to go. So on screen, we should have it up to date, I believe. Let me go ahead and confirm. Let's see here. If this Photoshop file wants to close today, you want to close today or tomorrow? Thank you. All right, so we should have, yeah, okay. So everything's up to date on screen. Thank you. I left Jordan Love in his spot. I think even without Aaron Jones and Christian Watson, the guy was able to throw for 3 touchdowns last week. Why not again this week? Let's just keep it rolling. Okay, so back to the questions. Actually, before I even get to the questions, let's go ahead and once again mention kickers and defense. Someone in the chat said Aaron Jones is out. Trust me, I know. I just got rid of him. I got rid of him. Don't worry. We're good. So anybody who earlier today we talked about Aaron Jones or Christian Watson, I probably gave alternatives. I'm fairly certain we gave alternatives. Just go with those alternative options that we mentioned. Okay, let's talk about top 12 defenses, shall we? Going into the week, it's number 1 Dallas Cowboys, number 2 New England Patriots, number 3 Buffalo Bills, number 4 Baltimore Ravens, number 5 New York Jets, number 6 Kansas City Chiefs, 7 is the Jacksonville Jaguars, 8 is the Cleveland Browns, 9 is the Seattle Seahawks, 10 is the Los Angeles Rams, 11 is the New Orleans Saints, and 12 is the Green Bay Packers. The New Orleans Saints actually probably move up to number 10 ahead of the Rams. So, yeah, let's talk about the Saints, number 10, Rams 11, and Green Bay Packers 12. Let's talk about top 12 kickers. Number 1 is Brandon Aubrey. Number 2 is Jake Elliott. Number 3 is Justin Tucker. 4 is Nick Folk. 5 is Brett Maher. 6 is Cameron Dicker. 7 is Younghoe Koo. 8 is Tyler Bass. 9 is Jason Sanders. 10 is Brandon McManus. 12 is Jason Myers. 10 is Brandon McManus. 11 is Jason Myers. 12 is Daniel Carlson. 13 is Harrison Butker. Thank you. Appreciate it. You have 2 AJ Dillons? Do I really? Did I not fix it properly? I do have 2 AJ Dillons. Sorry, guys. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that. Okay. So let me go ahead and let me adjust that. I knew something was going to mess up. I messed up something, week 1. I messed up something week 2. This is what happens when I'm in a rush to try to get everything up to date. Thank you for pointing that out to me. Okay, so let me go ahead. Let's adjust it accordingly. Now we should be good to go. There we go. Okay, now we're good. File, save as copy, JPEG, save. Okay. And I believe we're good to go, right? We should have Dylan at 27, and then, yo, it didn't save. Oh, it did. Okay. It just saved as a different file. I'm about to say, listen, guys, I was about to get angry. It's like, what the heck is going on here? Okay. Now it has changed. We're good to go. Goodness gracious. The classic injuries. Okay. Let me catch up on some of these questions sent via Super Chat. We had Jorge Perez. Actually, you know what? There was a question that was sent in earlier that didn't have a message attached to it. And I told them to type it in, and I don't know if they did. So let me go back up and let me find who it was. It was John S. John S., did you end up typing anything in the chat? There's nothing in the chat. John, if you could do me a favor, type it. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. We had a question that came in from... Who was next on this list? Who was next? Jorge Perez. Jorge Perez says, good morning. Full PPR. I need 2. 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, 1 flex. So you need 3. So we have, you need 2 wide receivers, 1 running back, 1 flex. Apologies. It got broken off because it was multiple sentences. Okay. So you have Sanders, you have Kyron Williams, you have Dylan, you have Addison, you have Nakua. Okay, so Puka Nakua number 1 as your wide receiver. Addison's your wide receiver 2. Kyron Williams is your RB1. And in a full PPR, I'd probably end up playing... Do I play Terry McLaurin over Sanders? Let's check. Where do I have him ranked accordingly? Terry McLaurin is there, and I have him ahead of Miles Sanders. So Terry McLaurin will be your flex. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on. Let me see if John S. is in the chat. John, you there? Nope, nothing on the Control S, Control F function. Okay, keep it moving. We had David Beaton says, full PPR, 1 wide receiver. We have Ridley, Cooper, Kupp. Sorry. Wide receiver 1, Ridley, Cooper, Kupp. Wide receiver 2 is Dotson. Should I drop and play Josh Reynolds? Yeah, I'd like to play Josh Reynolds. Yeah, that's the direction I'd lean in. Thank you. Now, will I drop Jahan Dotson to do it? Probably not, because I do think Jahan Dotson rest of the season is a better player. But for now, if considering you need to start, I'd go for it. Colin Smith says, Addison, London, or Brian Robinson, start 2 in a PPR. It's Brian Robinson and it's Addison. Thank you. Lean King says, half PPR, Gus Edwards, Ford, Hopkins, Brandon Cooks. Gus Edwards is number 1 amongst the group. As for your follow-up question, Brandon Cooks or Tank Dell, trading Brandon Cooks for Tank Dell, I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me. Austin Mixon says, full PPR, pick 2, Puka Nacua, Ridley, Devonta Smith. Considering I don't even know if Devonta Smith is going to play tomorrow, he's questionable with a hamstring injury, I probably just end up playing Ridley and Puka. Thank you. Jabo sends in a question. Jabo, where's your question, Jabo? Jabo says the following: full PPR, Ridley, Miles Sanders, Pickens, or Mostert? That's a great question. Let's see where I have Ridley compared to Mostert. Mostert in a full PPR, I have Mostert there. I have Ridley at 20, and I have Mostert at 23 in a full PPR. Thank you. J Holly 203 says, I own Tua. Pick up Kendre Miller or A-Chain as rest of season potential. I would rather have A-Chain rest of season. Thank you. Adam says, full PPR, Ridley or Evans? Full PPR? I don't think it really defaults into a different direction. I'd probably still end up playing Mike Evans there. Thank you. We have a question from Sebastian. Sebastian, where's your question? I don't see it. Sebastian's question. I see it now. Godwin, Jones, Moss, or Atwell in the flex? Keep Higgins in, question mark. My suggestion, hear me out. My suggestion is it's between Godwin and it's between Higgins. You wait till tomorrow. If Burrow plays, you play Higgins. If he doesn't, you play Godwin in the earlier game. Thank you. Jerome Hill says, in a full PPR, two running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex, we have the following: Amari Cooper, T. Higgins, Devonta Smith, Nico Collins, Derrick Henry, Breece Hall, James Conner, James Cook. Okay, 2 running backs. Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry. Boom, boom, 1-2. Done, finished. 2 wide receivers are going to be Devonta Smith and Nico Collins. And in your flex, I would play Amari Cooper. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so we move back up. We have Johnny Coffee. He says, Stevenson or Joshua Kelly? I'll take Joshua Kelly in a half PPR. Also, I have Kyron Williams and then Puka in the flex. Do I start all 3 running backs? No, I would like to play Puka. Thank you. Appreciate it. Joshua P. says, in a half PPR, Brian Robinson, Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker, Jahmyr Gibbs. In a half PPR, as you can see on screen, we have it accordingly updated as of the last 10 minutes. Kenneth Walker, Kyron Williams at 6, Kenneth Walker at 7, Kelly at 9, Gibbs at 11, Stevenson at 10, So in regards to your players specifically, Josh, if I'm starting them in order, Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker, Jahmyr Gibbs will probably be your 2 starting running backs in your flex. Thank you. J Sack says, risk Jones. Okay, Jones is out, so we're good to go there. Gus Edwards, Gus Edwards is your play. It's made for you. Dave says, Aubrey, rest of season rank. I have Koo. Should I drop? Yeah, I would make the swap. Primarily because I do expect Dallas Cowboys to be a higher scoring offense, and with that, they're just going to continue to be able to, kick a bunch of field goals up in between the uprights. Moving on, we had a question from Dave. Okay, so that was Dave's question. We took care of Jerome. We had OKC BK says half PPR, pick 2, St. Brown, Puka, James Cook, and Kelly. Out of those 4 options, I'd probably end up playing Puka Nacua and St. Brown. Thank you. Dilo says Swift Moss decision is difficult. Yeah, it is. It's definitely not easy. Do you lean Swift in a full? Let's see. Where do I have him in a full PPR comparatively to Zach Moss? Where is Zach Moss in these rankings? Zach Moss. I have Zach Moss ahead of DeAndre Swift in a full PPR. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on. Let's see here. Is there any new updates? What do we have? All right. More. Okay, so Taron Armstead, the left tackle of the Dolphins, is playing. Colts guard Quentin Nelson is in. Joey Bosa's in. J.C. Jackson is a healthy scratch inactive for the Chargers. Not a surprise. He's sucked since his ACL or his Achilles injury. And then we already took care of that. Okay, we're good. Just making sure we've got all of those updates. Who just tweeted at me a minute ago and said pain? What is this? What's wrong with your lineup, man? Trevor Lawrence, AJ Dillon, Tony Jones, Gabe David. This is pain. What is this team? Oh my God, your bench. Dude, you should change your team name to the Infirmary. You've got an entire bench of injured players. What is this? Oh my God. Dude, I'm sorry. That sucks. That is pain. That is actual pain. Jeez, that's brutal. Okay, moving on. We had a question that came in from Mike Simmons. Mike Simmons says the following. Where is your question? Says, would you start Roshan Johnson over Shaheed? No, I wouldn't. I'd play Rashid Shaheed over him. Nicholas Bond says, in a half PPR, I need one wide receiver and two flex between Kelly, Higgins, Kirk, Ford, Godwin, and Sanders. One wide receiver and two flex. The two flex options are going to be... Okay, so let's figure this out first and foremost. Considering we can't wait to see... Well, actually, you can. Okay. Hear me out. Your wide receiver is either going to be Higgins or Godwin, and you're going to pivot one or the other based on Burrow's active nature tomorrow. What you'll do at the flex, in the meanwhile, is play Kelly and Kirk. Thank you. Lex says, full PPR, Moss, Swift, Jalen Warren. Between those three options, I'll take Zach Moss. Swift second, Jalen Warren third. Glocko Richo says, Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson? I'll take Russell Wilson this week. Thank you. Pickens or Amon-Ra St. Brown says Andy Slick in the chat. I take Amon-Ra 100%. Daniel Lopez in the chat was saying Alexander Madison, Kelly, or D-Hop. I will take Kelly. Tanit says Judy or Javonte. I'll take Javonte. Let's see here. Does AJ Dillon move up with Jones out? He already has. If you can see, listen, you guys make me think that this is what I'm streaming. This is what you guys make me think I'm streaming. You guys are giving me the indication that there's nothing on screen. There is absolutely rankings on screen that are literally updated as of 10 minutes ago. Yes, AJ Dillon moved up. He is currently now the number 27 running back. If it is hard to read, I apologize. Hopefully you're not trying to watch on your phone and you are at a desktop. And if you're at a desktop or laptop, max screen that son of a gun. And I'm telling you, it's all there. It's all there, guys. Thank you. Alrighty. Mostert or Amari Cooper? Chris, I'll take Mostert there. Ryan in the chat was saying Rashid Shaheed, Jaden Reed, or Kendre Miller. I'd probably end up playing Kendre Miller if it's a half, or Rashid Shaheed in a full. Addison or Kirk in the flex. I really like Christian Kirk today. I really do. Would I ever consider Addison ahead of him? Probably not. No. Thank you. All right, moving on. We had a question that came in from Lex. Okay, we took care of Lex's question. It goes on to Luis Becerra. Says, should I start Isaiah Pacheco or DeAndre Swift? I would play Isaiah Pacheco against the terrible Bears defense. We had a question from BA. He says, full PPR. Pick one. Robert Woods, Sky Moore, Brandon Cooks. If I'm playing one of the three, I'm playing Robert Woods. Thank you. Dustin says full PPR, one wide receiver, one flex, Tutu Atwell, Zach Moss, Josh Reynolds, Tyler Algier, and Jaden Reed. My other wide receiver is Puka Nacua. Okay, cool. So out of those available options in a full PPR scoring format, I'm going to suggest you play Tutu Atwell. I know it's both Rams, but hey, I think they're both going to be the better players out of the bunch. Pitcher Rendon says, Amari Cooper or Kelly? Kelly burned me. Yeah, no, I'm fully aware. Kelly burned me too last week. I'm comfortable playing Josh Kelly there. Somebody in the chat, TC, was saying Rashad White or Josh Kelly. I'll take Josh Kelly there. Someone in the chat, Javier, was saying Moss or Garrett Wilson. I'll take Moss. Taysom Hill or Fryer Muth. I feel comfortable playing Taysom Hill. Jacoby Myers or Christian Kirk. Mike, I'll play Christian Kirk there. King Tut says Stevenson or James Cook. I will take Stevenson there. James Cook, again, doesn't have the goal line carries like Stevenson does in comparison, because James Cook obviously defaults to Latavius Murray and Damian Harris. Swift or Myers, full PPR. Craig, I'd play Swift there. Full PPR. Okay, that's that. Defensive rankings. Yes, we will get there at the top of the hour. At 9, unless we can somehow get to 1,000 likes before we get to the top of the hour, somehow, some way, that'd be greatly appreciated. Then maybe we'll mention it there. Otherwise, top of the hour. For those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome. Kickoff with Kirchhoff, Sunday morning. Updated rankings on screen for a half PPR scoring format. So if you guys are looking for interpositional rankings going into week 3, potentially they're on screen available to you. Additionally, if you have a flex question, I will hopefully be able to answer your question either directly from the chat, directly via super chat, or by proxy of answering somebody else's question. Thank you very much for joining us. We continue on. Weather updates. We'll talk about weather updates at probably around like 9:20. We gotta wait. We gotta wait. We'll get more information as the time moves on. Colin Smith says Henry or Njoku. I would play Hunter Henry over David Njoku. Full PPR. Why is consensus so low on Hunter Henry? The primary reason is because he plays the Jets. The weather is going to potentially be terrible, and because he's touchdown dependent. But the fact of the matter is, the Tennessee Titans are one of the best teams at stopping opposing tight ends. It's been the case since last year. It's been the case since this year. I mean, I don't think David Njoku's having himself the monstrous game that a lot of other people are projecting him to do. So, listen, I could be wrong, but the matchup says differently. The volume of opportunity he gets, the snap counts he gets, they're not promising enough for me to trust that David Njoku is going to outscore Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's had 4 consecutive games of 5 or more catches. David Njoku's not been close. Let's see here. We have Daniel sends in a question, says, Andrew, I need help bad. This stinks, but my RB in a PPR is either Moss, Ford, or Madison. I would play Madison out of that group. Follow-up question is, I'm worried about, okay, Madison lost 2 RBs already. I'm 2-0 at the current moment in time. Yeah, look, for right now, let's just play Madison. In future weeks, you're probably going to have to sell some of these running backs, because if Jonathan Taylor comes back, you're in trouble. And if Akers begins to get a farther, incorporation within his backfield, and if Kareem Hunt starts to get a farther incorporation within the Cleveland backfield, you're going to be in some trouble. So, yeah, we're going to have to look for some trades in the coming weeks here. Let's see here. Mark That Boy says full PPR, Addison, Thomas, Gus Edwards. In a full PPR, I am comfortable rolling with Jordan Addison at that point. Corey Hoover says PPR, Nico Collins or Jordan Addison. Nico Collins 100%. Gary says full PPR, pick 2, Hopkins, Kendre Miller, and or Drake London. I'll take both the receivers. Give me Hopkins and London. Thank you. Toxic Fuse says full PPR, pick 2, flex, Brian Robinson, Alexander Madison, Javonte Williams, Christian Kirk. In a full PPR scoring format, I would play Brian Robinson alongside Christian Kirk. Thank you. Corey Miller sends in a question. Where's Corey Miller's question? Where did it go? Corey Miller says, I have Dak Prescott and Tony Pollard. Should I trade Justin Tucker for Aubrey? I don't mind it. Personally, I don't mind it. Rick says, pick 2, rest of season, full PPR. Njoku, Kincaid, Hunter Henry. Thank you. Man. I would like to assume that David Njoku can get back on track eventually. I don't like him in the given week. I would like to assume he does. So for now, I would say like rest of season. I'm hoping it's some, man. I don't have as much confidence, to be honest. It's probably going to be Kincaid and Hunter Henry, which kind of sucks, but I'm hoping that, Njoku can battle and figure it out. Why the change in ranking for Breece Hall and Rashad White? What do you mean the change in ranking? In comparison to what? What are we talking about? I'm trying to see what you're even referring to. Moving on. We had a question that came in from Rick. Rick said, okay, so we took care of Rick's question. Yeah, again, those 3 tight ends, it is tough. It is tough. So we'll probably just say it's Kincaid and Henry for now. Flotation Swag says full PPR, start 2. Roshan Johnson, Gus Edwards, A-Chain, or Gainwell. I will play Gus Edwards alongside of, if it's a full PPR, I probably end up playing Devon A-Chain next to him. in a full PPR. Thank you. Damon Smith. Thank you very much. Full PPR. Pick 2 out of the 3 options. We have London, Algier, and Addison. Give me both wide receivers. Give me London and give me Addison. Thank you. Patrick Baker. Thank you very much. Says, I'm 0-2 currently in a full PPR. Should I start to panic? No, it's not time to panic yet. Auto starts, I will leave out. So here are the following. We need 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. We have Miles Sanders, Jerome Ford, Chuba Hubbard, Chris Godwin, Garrett Wilson, and Tank Dell / Elijah Moore JSN. Okay, so wide receiver number 1 is Garrett Wilson and wide receiver number 1 is Chris Godwin. Wide receiver number 2 is Garrett Wilson. The flex this week in a full PPR standing is going to be Tank Dell. And the RB that you play is going to be Miles Sanders. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on, we had Rowett. He said, greetings, salutations. Great bald one. That tweet is my team. Oh, no, Rowett. Oh, no. Oh, man. That's tough, man. That's tough. That is definitely tough. All right. Anthony Ort says, in a full PPR, Brees, Gus, or Connor? In a full PPR, that's a good question. Does Connor jump Gus Edwards in a full PPR? Let's say he catches the ball 5 times in terms of the projection. Yeah, it's probably Connor ahead of Gus Edwards ultimately in the given week. We move on to Wolf. He says Michael Thomas or Josh Kelly. I'll take Josh Kelly there. Rowett says, looking back at the tweet, who do I start? Okay, let me look back at it right now. Rowett, let's see here. You have, okay, so can you drop Tony Jones Jr. and go get Kendre Miller? If not, you play Craig Reynolds as your RB2. Follow up to that, you should be playing Jaden Reed as your second flex option, not Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't trust Clyde Edwards, so I would play Jaden Reed there. Thank you. Who's your tight end? Oh, there is no tight end. There's just a flex. Okay. So, yeah. Craig Reynolds, if not Kendre Miller. Actually, yeah, Craig Reynolds is better than Kendre Miller. So just play Craig Reynolds as your RB2 and then roll with, Jaden Reed as your flex. Thank you. Swift or Godwin PPR? I'll take Godwin there. Ertz or Hill in a half PPR? As you guys can see on screen, Kiwi, Ertz is 1 spot ahead of Taysom Hill in my half PPR rankings. Thank you. Najee or Miles in a full PPR? I'd probably still roll with Sanders there. Thank you. Najee or Sanders? Sanders. Okay, moving on. We had a question that rolled in from Luis Garcia. He said, should I trade Amon-Ra St. Brown and Joshua Kelly for Jamar Chase and Jonathan Taylor? Yes, you should. 150,000%. Yes. Justin says, who should I start? Kirk, Atwell, Davis, full PPR. I will play Christian Kirk out of those 3. Also, I have Ridley starting as well. Yeah, I'm firing them all up, baby. Jaguars, let's hope they play well. Dilo says, okay, then pick full PPR, please. Swift, Kirk, thank you. I would play Christian Kirk over DeAndre Swift this week in a full PPR. Zottey, Zodi says, start 3, Javonte, Ford, Dylan, Gus, Algier. Gus number 1, Javonte number 2, and if I'm starting a third, if it's between Dylan, Algier, and Ford, it's probably just going to be Jerome Ford out of the 3. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on. We had Nathan J. says, I have Burrow in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. Waited out. Free agents are Geno, Stafford, Wilson, or his backup. So my suggestion, Nathan, is you can either play Geno today. If you feel like, yeah, I want to try to risk it for the biscuit, you pick up Matthew Stafford, you wait till tomorrow. If if Burrow is out, you play Stafford in his place. Otherwise, you play Burrow tomorrow. So you have the ability to make that Stafford a Burrow kind of pivot. I myself, in one of my leagues, am making that pivot. In my same league, I have Geno Smith available on a waiver. He's out there. Some reason. It's a 10-team league. I don't know. It's a league with the homies. You know, it's one of those like, you know, I'm gonna win it anyway kind of thing. Because everyone's. I mean, you should see the roster I have on this team. It is. Whew, my bench last week had 100 points. Okay, let's just put it out like that. Okay. Anyway, so of the overall situation, I would lean towards let's do the Burrow Stafford kind of risky play, but you don't have to. It's just kind of up to your risk, averseness per se. Thank you. Kevin Effect says full PPR. Kendre Miller, Antonio Gibson, Craig Reynolds, or A-Chain. In a full PPR, Craig Reynolds is not going to catch the ball. That is a given. So if it's between him and Kendre, is Kendre going to catch a couple passes out of the backfield? I would assume he probably does. So it's probably Kendre Miller in a full PPR. Second question, roster, 2 of them rest of season. Rest of season, I'd rather have Kendre Miller and A-Chain. Rest of season, I'd drop the rest. Thank you. Keylord sends in a question, says full PPR. If Brown is limited, Brown. I'm assuming you mean Amon-Ra St. Brown. Guys, for future reference, if we could do me a solid, just say like ARSB for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Because when you say Brown, there's 3 Browns at the wide receiver position. There's AJ, there's Marquise, and there's Amon-Ra, right? So, or at least say like Sun God or something like that. You know what I mean? That'll just make it easier. Thank you. Okay, so how much higher would Reynolds be? He's not going to be limited. Reynolds wouldn't go higher. Struggling to leave him on the bench. I have Chase, Collins, and Godwin. So you want to play Reynolds over I mean, listen, be my guest. That's fine, but I would play the other receivers that you have. Thank you. William says, in a full PPR, Najee, DJ Moore, or Michael Thomas. I'll take DJ Moore out of that group. Rock, Roque, I guess. Rock, maybe. Rocky says, full PPR, DeAndre Swift or DeAndre Hopkins. In a full PPR, I'll take Hopkins. Steven Brackett says, Collins or Gibbs, full PPR. I will probably end up playing Jahmyr Gibbs there. Thank you. We move. Yeah, probably. Yeah. It's tough, man. Oh man. Nico Collins is so good. Yeah, I'll take Gibbs there. MZG Eric says flex DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, Gainwell, or Gus Edwards. I'll take Gus Edwards out of that group. BA says, I meant Dalvin Cook, Sky Moore, or Brandon Cooks. Got it. Between those 3, I'll play Sky Moore. Thank you. We had... Where the heck? Okay, Jack D. There's no... Okay, Jack, if you're still in the chat, there wasn't anything attached to your super chat. So if you can do me a solid, type it in the chat. We greatly appreciate it. Moving on. We had Justin. Ryan Smith says, full PPR, Ford, Addison, Myers. Give me Addison there. Moving on. Crypt Keeper, full PPR. Need 2. Nico, Garrett Wilson, Ridley. Give me Nico Collins and give me Nico Collins and Calvin Ridley. Thank you. Jack Reyes says, Hunter Henry or Kyle Pitts, and Calvin Ridley or Ramondre Stevenson. 3-0 is at stake here. So you want to stay undefeated. I'd like to play Hunter Henry there. As for Calvin Ridley and Ramondre Stevenson, if it's a half PPR, I'll take Ramondre. If it's a full PPR, I'll take Calvin Ridley. Thank you. Joel Garza. Let's see here. Garza, where are you at? Any questions in the chat? Yes. Should I pick up Geno and bench Justin Fields? I would. Yeah. I think he's a better player in the given week. Thank you. Moving on, we had a question from Jonathan McMaster. Love the last name. Full PPR, Swift, Najee, Kendre, Dobbs, pick 2. Swift is my number 1. And do I play Romeo Dobbs as the number 2 against... Yeah, I probably end up doing it. Yeah, I probably end up playing Swift and Dobbs there. Thank you. Gucci Han, Louis Han says, my guy, full PPR, Kelly or D-Hop? I'll take Kelly there. Thank you. Let's see here. We have Antanig says... let me see if I can pronounce this last name. Andonian. Yeah, that's pretty good, right? Full PPR. I had to put my Armenian accent on there just to kind of roll it out there. What's up, man? Full PPR. Tank Dell, Dobbs, Rashid Shaheed, Kenneth Gainwell, Roshan Johnson is my last flex spot going into the week. I'll take Romeo Dobbs there. Yeah, I'll take Romeo Dobbs. Lorenzo Herrera says, Laporta or Henry? Puka active for tomorrow. Yes, Puka is going to be active for tomorrow. I wouldn't worry about it. I'd play Henry over Laporta. I think they both have similar upside because they could both very easily score a touchdown. But for now, we'll just roll with the guy that's a little bit more consistent down in the red zone specifically. Alex Sondgrass says, Geno or Burrow, 6 point per passing touchdown. If you don't have Stafford to pivot, you play Geno today. Moving on, standard, Laporta or Goddard. Give me Laporta. Follow up, Sanders or Mostert. Give me Mostert. Thank you very much, Alex. I appreciate it. We're still looking for the question that was supposed to be sent in from Joel Garza, right? I think we took care of Joel, no? So who was the other person that didn't have anything attached to their message? It was Jack D. Jack D. Jack's not here. Jack's just off the scene. Yep, Jack's off the scene. All right, no problem. Is that really no Jack? Damn. Okay. Well, moving on. So let me go ahead and scroll to the bottom of this list. Let me go ahead and let's see. I'm going to go ahead and once again mention top 12 kickers and defenses just so we're all on the same page because I know somebody in the chat was asking for that. So we'll once again do that. If we can get 16 more likes and break 1,000, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you. In the meanwhile, let's go ahead and let's mention some defenses here. Cowboys number 1, Patriots number 2, Buffalo Bills 3, Baltimore Ravens 4, Jets 5, Chiefs 6, Jaguars 7, Browns 8, Seahawks 9, Saints at 11. Saints at 10, Rams at 11, Packers at 12. We move on to top 12 kickers. Brandon Aubrey number 1, Jake Elliott number 2, Justin Tucker 3, Nick Folk 4, Brett Maher 5, Cameron Dicker 6, Younghoe Koo 7, Tyler Bass 8, Jason Sanders 9, Brandon McManus is 10, Jason Myers is 11, and Daniel Carlson is 12, Harrison Butker 13. Thank you. Phil, I will get to that in a second. I'm just trying to catch up right now. Okay, so we took care of... let me actually make sure. So I think I may have missed some questions. So I'm going to scroll back up. After Jack, we had Crypt Keeper. We took care of that. Then we move on to Jake Reyes. We took care of that. Then we went to Joel Garza. Then we have Justin. He said, trade Pierce for Brian Robinson. Yes. Moving on. Munchie Time says, George Pickens or Jordan Addison in a half PPR. I will take George Pickens this week. Thank you. We have Johannes Gasman says, Shaheed or Kendre Miller in the flex, full PPR. I'll take Shaheed there in a full PPR. Andrew Bassel says, hey, Andrew, Hollywood Brown or Jaden Reed? I'd probably end up playing Jaden Reed over Hollywood Brown this week. Watson and Jones out. Yep, I'll take Jaden Reed there. Jake Reyes. Jake Reyes says, okay, so we took care of that first one. Jake Reyes, if you had another question, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't attached to the secondary super chat. Thank you. Jan Palomo says, start 3, PPR, Javonte, Lockett, Rashad, Nico, DK, Connor. Okay. If I'm starting 3 of these options, it's Nico Collins, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett. Thank you. Moving on, we have Joe B. Joe, hope you're doing well. Nice to see you. Says, in a full PPR, I have Josh Allen, and I'm considering Dak because I have CeeDee Lamb. Then the flex is... Okay. If you have Josh Allen, just play Josh Allen. It's a solid play. I mean, there's nothing that can... Even when it goes wrong, it really can't go that wrong. Okay? So, just putting it out there. Josh Allen should be your play. Flex option, Dalvin Cook, Braxton Berrios, Thielen, Lazard, or Bourne. I'd play Adam Thielen out of the group. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. It's me, Jay, says Zay Flowers or Christian Kirk, Amari Cooper, Tyreek Hill, Jahan Dotson, and we need to start 3 of these options. Tyreek Hill, number 1. Zay Flowers, number 2. And probably it's either between Amari Cooper and Christian Kirk at number 3. I'll probably play Amari Cooper there. So Flowers, Cooper, Hill. Thank you. We move on to Sebastian. I think we took care of this question earlier, but I'll go ahead and mention it again. Godwin, Higgins, and Tutu. We have actually not talked about this question. Godwin, Higgins, or Tutu if Burrow is out. If Burrow is out, I would rather play Godwin. Yeah, I'd rather play Godwin. And if Puka is out. Okay, so this is the way that you have to approach it, Sebastian. If Burrow is out, you play Godwin. If Puka is out, you play Tutu. Otherwise, you play Higgins and Godwin. Thank you. Start 3, Brian Robinson, Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, and Moss. I would play Jacobs, Kyron Williams, and Brian Robinson. I'd bench Moss this week against Baltimore's tough run-stopping defense. Jackie says, if Burrow is out, Higgins or Tutu Atwell? At this point, honestly, I like Higgins. I'm okay with you starting Tutu Atwell. I like Higgins even with the backup quarterback, to be honest. Bolster says, pick 1 full PPR, Thielen, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Komet, or okay, so if I'm playing 1 out of those 4 options, I play Adam Thielen. Thank you. Jonathan McMaster, we took care of. Gucci Han, we took care of that. We took care of Lorenzo. Okay. Charnando says, start 1, Gabe Davis, Jahan Dotson, Algier. If it's a full PPR, I'll take Gabe Davis. If it's a half PPR, I'll roll with Tyler Algier. Thank you. We move on to Chief. Chief says, who do I start in a half PPR? 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. Devonta Smith, DK Metcalf, Mike Evans, Godwin, Kyron Williams, Swift, Madison, Moss, Ford. Okay, 2 running backs. Number 1 is Kyron Williams. Number 2 is Alexander Madison. 2 wide receivers, Metcalf and Evans. And your flex is Devonta Smith. Thank you. Moving on. We had Joseph. That's an interesting way to spell Joseph, huh? Joseph with a Z. Joseph. There's nothing in the chat, Joseph. If you could do me a favor and type your question, we'd greatly appreciate it. Is Jacoby Myers not in the top 30 wide receivers? Says Kobe. Nope, he's not. Andrew, my man, start 1, Hall, Hopkins, or Myers. If I'm starting 1, Emma, it's probably between those 3. In a full PPR, I'm going Hopkins. Let's see here. Luke says, Andrew, Kendre Miller or Khalil Herbert? I'll take Kendre Miller. Jimmy Crumbs says, Brian Robinson or Zach Moss? I'll take Brian Robinson in a full PPR. Higgins or Zach Moss full PPR? Considering we don't have the luxury of having a pivot option there, Jeremy, I think you just played Moss today. Let's see here. Kendre Miller or Rashad White, says Michael Serrano. I would play Rashad White there. Trevor Lawrence or Tua? I would play Trevor Lawrence. Tua doesn't have Waddle. OG says, considering Pacheco's hamstring, with his workload actually be significantly enough to start him as an RB2 over Miles Sanders? I'm under the assumption that they wouldn't play him. Okay, look, they have Clyde Edwards and they have Jerick McKinnon. They don't have to play him if he's not healthy. So my assumption, especially in these kind of backfields, is that if he's going to play, it's only because he's healthy enough to do so. So I would play him at a higher capacity or rank him at a higher capacity compared to, oh, John S. John S. Look at that. John says, I need an RB2 and a flex. Full PPR. Options are Alexander Madison, Hall, Pierce, or Addison. Don't feel great about Pierce. I don't either. And already have Henry. Okay, so of the available options you have here, RB2 and a flex, full PPR. Honestly, I'm playing both the Vikings. I'll take Alexander Madison and I'll take Jordan Addison there, John. Thank you. Is Joseph somewhere here? No Joseph yet? Okay. Moving on. Ulysses. Erazo says full PPR pick 3. Myers, Connor, Dotson, Dillon, Brandon Cooks. James Conner number 1. Jacoby Myers number 2. Probably AJ Dillon number 3. Yeah, probably. Let's see here. Patrick Morris says, no Aaron Jones, no running back on your list is available on my waivers. Any quick spot RB plays? Let me see if I can do you a solid here and see if I can go find someone. So no one on the list right now is available. So I'm going to start rattling off names. You ready? Samaje Perine, Latavius Murray, Devon A-Chain, Tank Bigsby, Damian Harris, Chuba Hubbard, Tyjae Spears, Rico Dowdle, Ezekiel Elliott, Jerick McKinnon, Tony Jones Jr., Melvin Gordon. Hopefully, someone like Samaje Perine or Latavius Murray, Devon A-Chain is available, but if not, keep it moving. Thank you. We move on. We have Mark That Boy says Gus Edwards or Addison full PPR. What do I have them ranked? Addison's at 50, Gus Edwards at 44. I'll take Gus. Thank you. Let's see here. We had the Nova says half PPR, Miles Sanders or Nico Collins. Give me Nico. Votation Sacks says check Twitter mention at this. Okay, let's see what your Twitter mention is. All right, Ty. Thank you very much, Ty. Let's see what you have here, my man. Chris. Okay, so you have Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr as your super flex. Okay, Devon A-Chain, Gus Edwards, Justin Jefferson, Chris Olave, Stephon Diggs. Man, you got some monster receivers. You have George Kittle, who already had a great week. Zach Ertz in your flex. Are we making any changes? No. There's no changes to be made. You're fine there. You're fine. Carlos says, Puka, Swift, Gus Edwards, or Madison. Start 1 in a 0 PPR. 0 point per reception. I'd play Gus Edwards out of that bunch. We had a question from Marley. Says, Gabe Davis or Jerry Jeudy? I'll take Judge Jerry Jeudy. Thank you. Chief says half PPR, start 3. Thomas, Brian Robinson, Kelly, Hopkins, Rashad. Okay, so between those options, Chief, Kelly, Hopkins, Brian Robinson. Thank you. Miles Kelly says full PPR, DK Lockett, Mike Williams. Pick 1. If I have to pick one in a full PPR, oh man. Who do I want to play in a full PPR between those 3 studs? I probably end up playing Mike Williams in a full PPR. Thank you. Moving on, we have Bolster says full PPR. I'll take Thielen there. Thank you very much, Bolster. We had Rusty Wright says Tattoo League. Oh man, you're back at the Tattoo League, huh? Half PPR. Should I really start Nico Collins over Jamar Chase? Opposition has Burrow, Russ as a backup. I usually lean towards you, but feels bad to sit studs. Listen, if Burrow doesn't play, is Jamar Chase better than Nico Collins? That's the question. That's the only reason why I have Chase where he's ranked. Otherwise, like I mentioned at the beginning of today's live stream, if Burrow is playing, Jamar Chase is like my number 6 ranked wide receiver. Like, it's just not even close. But again, yeah, it just depends. If you want to risk it, risk it. I mean, it's your Tattoo League. It's up to you, man. You got to go with your gut feeling. You got to make decisions. You're the ultimate, final call as the GM of your team. John says thank you. I have JJ too, so it's gonna be it's gonna be a Vikings day. It's good. I mean, that's the highest over under total point implication. It's 54.5 points. I think that might be the highest of the season. That might be the highest of the season, to be honest. As far as I can remember seeing. Nico Collins or Zay Flowers says Justin. I'll take Nico. Kirk A. Hutchinson Jr. says Pittman or Zach Moss in a full PPR. I'll take Pittman Jr. Thank you. DeAndre Warren says the following. Where's DeAndre Warren's question? Says, yesterday I asked A-Chain or P-Ryan. You said A-Chain, but your rankings, you said have, yeah, so basically I've changed my mind. Yeah. What changed? Primarily because I have a hard time thinking that Devon A-Chain is going to get, I mean, look, we talked about it, right? And my implication was like, all right, if he touches the ball like 10 to 12 times, that's great. I don't know if he's going to be able to do that. Like, I can't guarantee that being the case. But on the other end, like, I feel like there's going to be so much more of a rushing influence from Denver that P. Ryan's kind of the guy that I want to lean with. If you want to play one over the other, they're probably back-to-back in my rankings, right? So that's the only separation. Otherwise, you can run A-Chain and there's no problem. Will Thompson says, Sanders, Kirk, DJ Moore, Miles Sanders. Okay, so you mentioned Sanders twice. If I'm playing one of those 3 options, Sanders, Kirk, or DJ Moore, I'll take Kirk. Choco says, full PPR pick 1, Tutu, Reynolds, Hollywood, or Herbert. I'll take Tutu, Atwell. Thank you. Bat Masterson says, Gus Edwards or Najee Harris. I will play Gus Edwards. Thank you. Jaden Thornton says the following. Hey, Andrew. Hollywood or Dotson? I'll play Hollywood Brown. Follow up. Reed or Dell? I'll take Dell. Third league, Sutton, Juju, or Thielen? I'll take Thielen. Thank you. Appreciate it. Kevin Singh says full PPR, start 2 running backs. Pacheco, Edwards, Allaire, Damian Harris, Hunt. Yeah, give me Pacheco and Edwards this week. Kevin, thank you. Nate says Fields or Love? I'll take Fields this week. Packers' whole team is inactive. Yeah, I'm still going to run with Fields there, though. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on. We have the following from Lock Screen Gaming. He says, start Lamar, James Conner, Brian Robinson, so that's Bijan Robinson, St. Brown, Zay Flowers, Andrews, Tyler Lockett. We have the following on the bench. We have Judy, we have Javante. No, I wouldn't make any changes. You're good to go. Thank you, Lockstream. Brando23 says Swift or Flowers in a half PPR. Fairly certain. Swift, half PPR. Let's find him. Swift is... Zay Flowers is ahead of Swift this week. Thank you. Sandeep Singh says, Tony Jones Jr. or Swift? I'll take DeAndre Swift. Thank you. Lance Rebo says, Tua, Kirk, or Burrow, week 3. I'll take Kirk Cousins. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, Lance. Jay says, do you think Hunt eventually takes over for Ford? I don't think so. No. I think he'll play a role within the offense. I don't think he takes over. There's a reason why this team let go of Kareem Hunt this offseason, because they knew, hey, Jerome Ford's probably the better player going forward. Is Higbee droppable for Kincaid? Yes. Lalo says, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. James Cook, Stevenson, Amari Cooper, T. Higgins, Mike Williams. Okay, the 1 running back that I play out of that group is going to be Ramondre Stevenson. The 2 wide receivers are going to be Mike Williams and Amari Cooper. And the flex, considering you have T. Higgins as your only other alternative option, I'm going to play James Cook in the flex. So I'd bench T. Higgins out of the group there because we don't know about Burrow's status until tomorrow. Let's see here. We had a question from James Grover. Says full PPR. Rank these tight ends this week, rest of the season. Pitts, Laporta, Ferguson, Taysom Hill. Okay. So the rankings on screen will probably give you an indication as to where I'm going for this week. As for rest of season, Laporta is probably number 1, Pitts number 2, Ferguson 3, Taysom Hill 4. Thank you. Patrick Morris says, "Hey brother, skip super chat." When did I miss yours, Patrick Morris? No, I answered it. Oh, listen, that one I did not forget, and I literally I listed 15 running backs you could have picked up. I'll go ahead and mention them again, but I was saying Samaje Perine, I was saying Devon A-Chain, I was saying Latavius Murray. Do you have any of those 3 available in your league? You guys, what do you guys do? You guys send in messages and then just leave your computer? What's going on here? We had a question that came in from Rigo. Rigo says, "I got Adams, Devonta Smith, Nico Collins, and Garrett Wilson. I need to sit one. I'm sitting Garrett Wilson. Thank you." I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Wenger? Yeah, Wenger. Wenger88 says, "Why are you sleeping on Jake Ferguson this week? Because he needs to score a touchdown. If you can tell me that objectively he's going to score a touchdown, I'll go make a bet on it right now. Can you objectively say that's going to be the case? Because I will put my money where my mouth is if you are that confident in it, because I'm not." Glazer, Joe Burrow took first team reps in the walkthrough Sunday, remains game time decision. Oh my God, Burrow, you're gonna give us an aneurysm. You know that, bro? He's actually gonna give me an aneurysm. All right, moving on. You know what I need to actually do? 1 second here. All right, cool. Moving on. We have a question that came in from Eric Sanchez. I have Pitts. Should I drop What does it say? I have Pitts. Should I drop Jacoby for Muth? No. I don't like Freiermuth. He's not. I mean, he just doesn't do anything. At least Pitts gets some sort of target help, you know. Are we out on Garrett Wilson altogether? I would say yeah. Zach Wilson's throwing in the ball, guys. All right, moving on. We have a question that came in from Joel Garza. Says, flex one full PPR, London, Swift, Zay Flowers, Jerome Ford. In a full PPR, I'll take Zay Flowers. Thank you. Jay says, half PPR, pick one. Kareem Hunt, Gabe Davis, Sutton. Give me Gabe Davis. Thank you. Abil. Let's see here. Abil, where is your question? Abil says, Hunter Henry or Sam Laporta? I'll take Hunter Henry this week. Sam Laporta is only I don't think I would ever play him in any format. Doesn't even matter what the format is. Danny Harvey says, start 2 for the flex. Jaden Reed, Kendre Miller, Terry McLaurin. In a full PPR scoring format, I'd probably still play Kendre Miller alongside of Terry McLaurin. Thank you. David Beaton says, DeAndre Swift or Javonte Williams? What is the format? Full PPR? I'd probably end up playing Javonte there in a full PPR. Thank you. Isaac Souza says, full PPR, AJ or Pittman? And then Fields or Tua? I'll take Fields over Tua. If you're asking AJ or Pittman, I'm assuming that's AJ Brown. That's not AJ Dillon, because in no capacity are we ever playing AJ Dillon in a full PPR over Pittman. So, under that assumption, we're going to go with AJ Brown. Thank you. A reminder, for those of you guys who are joining us today, thank you very much for joining us on this wonderful Sunday for week 3 of the 2023 fantasy football season. We have rankings up to date on screen. I'm trying to catch up on questions to the best of my ability, and I'll continue to answer them until kickoff at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you. All right, moving on. We have Jesse G says, pick 2, Mike Williams, Michael Thomas, DJ Moore. Give me Moore and give me Williams. Thank you. Let's see here. Sebastian Alex says, should I flex Hunter Henry over Jerry Jeudy or Michael Thomas dual flex? No, I wouldn't. I would just play those receivers. Thank you. iShine101 says, sup Drew, need upside 10-team full PPR league. I have Jaden Reed or Zach Moss. Oh, man. Christian Watson, Aaron Jones out. I'd probably still play Zach Moss there. Steven C says PPR League. Fields, Stevenson, Edwards, Chase, Amon-Ra. Goodness gracious. We have DJ Moore, Hawkinson, Philly defense, Aubrey. Okay, so of your bench available options, you have London, Atwell, Reed, Warren, Gainwell. Change anything or leave it? No, you leave it. Actually, no. You pull DJ Moore and you play London in his stead. Thank you. Kevin Effect, PPR, Shaheed or Jaden Reed. I'd play Rashid Shaheed. Also, QJ or Downs rest of the season. Downs. Thank you. Nelson, Rincon says, hey Andrew, I have Stevenson, Swift, St. Brown, Evans, Flowers. Starting for PPR, Christian Kirk, Addison, Moss on my bench. Should I make any adjustments? Evans, Swift, no. Keep it as is. You're good to go, Nelson. Thank you. Appreciate it. QB says, half PPR, I need to drop one. Gibbs, Mixon, Kelly, Amari Cooper, Puka Nacua, or Flowers. Why is Zay Flowers higher than Amari Cooper this week? Thank you. Primarily because he plays against the Indianapolis Colts, and they legitimately don't have a secondary. I mean, they have a couple cornerbacks, but Kenny Moore is even questionable to even play today. I don't even know if he's going to be active. But if you have to drop one of those options, legitimately, like if it's Gibbs, Mixon, Kelly, Amari Cooper, Puka Nacua, or Zay Flowers, I'm dropping Josh Kelly because eventually Eckler's coming back. So I'm not dropping Amari Cooper, Puka, or Zay Flowers or Mixon Gibbs. Thank you. All right, we had a question from Gunny. Gunny, thank you very much. Gunny, there's no question. You didn't attach it. Gunny, no. Gunny, type in the chat. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Abil says Hunter Henry or Sam. Okay, so we took care of that. Hunter says start 2, Sanders, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore. Give me Sanders and DJ Moore. Thank you. Lucky Slevin says starting wide receiver Diggs, Amari Cooper. Running backs are Pollard and James Cook. Flex is Kyron Williams. I have Dylan and Kirk on my bench. Do we leave it as is? Yes, leave it as. Actually, no, wait. I think I have Christian Kirk over Amari Cooper, right? I'd like to play Christian Kirk. But you can leave it as is. It doesn't. I mean, they're close enough in my rankings to where it doesn't bother me either way. Someone in the chat was asking Joshua Kelly or Jalen Warren. I'll play Kelly there. Again, we have rankings up to date on screen, literally like right there. So, yeah, Kelly is significantly ahead of Warren. Warren's at 31 now, and Kelly's literally at 9. Thank you. I'm waiting for you, Gunny. Where you at, Gunny? We move on to Chris R. Says, I traded Amon-Ra for Josh Jacobs and Addison. I mean, if you need the running back depth, I'm fine with that. Yeah, that's fine. AJ Dillon, or sorry, not AJ Dillon. AJ sends in a question, says, my girlfriend has Dillon, Hall, and Harris. I need 2 to start. Yeah, if I'm starting 2 of those 3, it's Hall and Harris. Thank you. Gabriel Martin says, would you start Kendre Miller over Michael Thomas in a standard league? Yes, I would. Thank you. Shane Howard says, Burrow could be out, so Geno or Love? I'll take Geno there. Tight end 2 question, Jasicki or Taysom Hill? I'll take Taysom Hill there this week. Ford or Moss? I'll take Moss. Reed or Woods? I'll take Woods. Thoughts on Chase this as well this week? Even with the backup quarterback, he should be okay, per se. Okay, let's see here. Where are we at? Okay, so moving on. We had a question from... Where's the next question? We had Gabriel Martin. Thank you very much, Gabriel. Says, would you start Kendre Miller? Okay, we already took care of that. Shane Howard, we took care of that. Big Cat says, hey, Mostert or Amari Cooper in the flex? I'll take Mostert this week. Shane Howard follows up, says, sorry, I have Garrett Wilson in the flex. So Wilson, Woods, or Reed? Give me Woods. No, actually, let me check the weather report. If the weather is awful, then we'll play Woods there. Thank you. Zach Koo says, do you like Mike Williams or George Pickens in a standard? I'll take Mike Williams in a standard. Thank you. Moving on to iShine 101 says the following. Half PPR, I need upside in a 12-team league. Rashid Shaheed or Sky Moore off weight. I'll take Rashid Shaheed there. Thank you. Choco says full PPR, pick one quarterback. Deshaun Watson or Fields? I'll take Fields. Or pick up Stafford. No, I'll play Fields. Thank you. Madison, Hall, or Swift? Ooh, baby. Madison, Hall, Swift. I'll take Madison, Swift, Hall in that order. As for your follow-up question, Pittman, Addison, or Collins? I mean, goodness gracious. There's really no wrong answer. I think they're all great, but I'll take Nico Collins there. Let's see here. We had a Discord message that just came in. Let's see here. What is the question here from Discord? It says, Would you be more confident starting Gainwell over Najee Harris today? Nah, I wouldn't. No, I'm not playing Gainwell ahead of Najee Harris. All right, Abil says Ridley, Cooper, or Pittman in the flex. Ridley, Cooper, Pittman. Yeah, give me Ridley. Thank you. Kobe says, I got Cooper Kupp, JT, and Deontay Johnson and Ayuk. Should I trade? I mean, if your team is hemorrhaging, you're about to start 0-4, you might want to, try to save next week and at least capture a victory so you can get a better chance of making the playoffs. Otherwise, I mean, you have the sleeper team that is like the late season like takeover that you can win like the last 8 games of the season and make the playoffs kind of thing. Moving on, Abil says Kirk Cousins or Lamar Jackson. I like Kirk Cousins. That's why I have him ranked higher. Literally, you see right there? Right there. Look at it. Look at it. Look. Kirk Cousins 4, Lamar Jackson 5. Look. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. All right. So we're at a point where we're nearing 9:30. Let's see here. We have about 2 minutes until we'll mention kickers and defenses once again. I am sweating in here, and it's not even hot. It's just because I wore a long sleeve like an idiot. Ugh. All right. So out of the following, where are we at? We had Abil. Yeah, so we'll take that. Y'all Too Fake says, greetings, Andrew. I'm dealing with a ton of injuries. Who do I play? Rashad White, Zach Moss, Isaiah Pacheco, Josh Reynolds, Nico Collins, 2 running backs, 2 running backs, 2 flex. RB1, Zach Moss. RB1, Pacheco. RB2, Zach Moss. Flex 1, Nico Collins. Flex 2, Rashad White. Thank you. Scott Upton says, start Jaden Reed or Kendre Miller in a full PPR? That's a really good question. Kendre Miller or Jaden Reed in a full PPR? I'd probably still stick with Kendre Miller. Thank you. Alex Downing. Okay, we're looking for Gunny. Gunny, did you send anything? Gunny is not even in the chat. No, Gunny. All right, Gunny. Well, 07. It is what it is. Moving on. Scott, we took care of Alex Downing. Alex Downing says the following: PPR, RB2, James Conner, or Gus the Bus Edwards. I will take James Conner. Thank you. Tom sends in a question. Says, full PPR, Jerome Ford, DJ Moore, Gabe Davis. Pick 2. Give me both the receivers. Thank you. Give me DJ Moore and Gabe Davis. Chris Moraga says, half PPR, Jaden Reed, Laporta. At that point, I will take Jaden Reed. Thank you. Moving on. Michael Ortiz says, down bad without Saquon, full PPR. I need 2 running backs, Kendre Miller, Connor, Hubbard, or someone off the waivers. Kendre Miller and Connor are great plays. I'll take them both. Kaleo says, Jalen Warren, Jerome Ford, Terry McLaurin, full PPR flex. I'll probably end up going McLaurin there. Thank you. Matthew Palmer says, full PPR, choose 4. Zay Flowers, Nico Collins, AJ Brown, Puka Nacua, T. Higgins, Tyler Lock. Okay, goodness gracious. I also need 2. Okay, so let's see here. Out of those options, if I'm picking 4, Puka Nacua number 1, AJ Brown number 2, Nico Collins 3, Zay Flowers 4. Moving on. Also need 2 flex PPR. Zay Flowers, Kelly, DeAndre Hopkins, or Michael Thomas. Zay Flowers, Kelly, D-Hop, Michael Thomas. Flowers, Kelly, D-Hop, Michael Thomas. 2 flex. I will play Flowers and Kelly. Thank you. Let's see here. Moving on. We had Jay. He says, Watson, Stroud, Minshew. Do you have Watson the highest? Yes, I have Watson the highest, Stroud second highest, Minshew third highest. Thank you. Let's see here. Elijah says, PPR RB2, Pacheco, Sanders. Okay, I'm playing Pacheco there as the RB2. Judy, Jacoby Myers, or Warren as the flex. I probably end up playing Judy there. So it's Pacheco and Judy. Thank you. As for your follow-up question there, do you trust Pacheco? Yes, I do trust Pacheco. Thank you. Also, flex Miles Sanders or Pickens. Give me Pickens there. Matthew Rosato says, Justin Tucker or Jake Elliott. I have Jake Elliott higher this week. Ulysses Ventura says, Fields over Wilson. Yes, I do prefer Fields over Wilson. Rushing upside, I will take it. Keoden says, Rashad White or Zay Flowers. I'll take Zay Flowers this week. Shane Howard says, So is it Robert Woods or Jaden Reed full PPR? Robert Woods. Douglas, okay, that doesn't matter. 100-yard podcast says, with Aaron Jones out. Do I play Ford or Kelly? Kelly, thank you. AJ Dillon, Chris Godwin, Nico, Ford, Connor, flex full PPR. I would play Nico Collins there, Abil. Thank you. Alejandro Perez says Jalen Waddle. Yeah, so Jalen Waddle, Austin Eckler are out. Goddard, Henry, or Shaheed in the flex. Assuming it's a half PPR or standard, I'd probably play Hunter Henry. If it's a full PPR, I'd play Rashid Shaheed. Thank you. Okay, we're good. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and let's mention kickers and defensive rankings, shall we? Do appreciate y'all clicking the like button today. It's greatly appreciated. This is the third consecutive week of being able to go over 1,000 likes. That is extremely appreciated. Thank you. You guys don't understand how much that really helps. All right, let's talk about top 12 defenses. Number 1, Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, New England Patriots. Number 3, Buffalo Bills. Number 4, Baltimore Ravens. Number 5, New York Jets. Number 6, Kansas City Chiefs. 7 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. 8 is the Cleveland Browns. 9 is the Seattle Seahawks. 10, New Orleans Saints. 11 is the Los Angeles Rams. And 12 is the Green Bay Packers. When we move on to kickers, we have number 1, Brandon Aubrey. Number 2, Jake Elliott. Number 3, Justin Tucker. Number 4, Nick Folk. Number 5, Brett Maher. Number 6, Cameron Dicker. Number 7, Younghoe Koo. Number 8, Tyler Bass. Number 9, Jason Sanders. Number 10, Brandon McManus. Number 11, Jason Myers. And number 12, Daniel Carlson. 13, Harrison Butker as an honorable mention. Thank you. Gunny, you're back. You should have just typed in the chat, Gunny. Oh, you did. I just didn't see it as of late. It's literally on my screen now. Only now that I've scrolled down here. All right, so Gunny says, I'm lost in the shuffle. Yeah, you probably are. Okay, so here we go. Half PPR. I have Joshua Kelly and Tyler Lockett. Austin Eckler's out, and DK Metcalf is starting. Who do I start? Thanks, Andrew. In a half PPR, I'd like to play Joshua Kelly there. Thank you. Appreciate it, Gunny. Greatly appreciate it. We had a question that came in from Dan. From Dan. Thanks, Dan. Full PPR, Kelly or Nico Collins? I'll take Nico Collins there. Thank you. Deco says half PPR. Flex Moore, Swift, or Sanders? DJ Moore, Swift, or Sanders? I'll take DeAndre Swift there. Thank you. We had Zeke Hanks says DeAndre Hopkins, Myers, or Michael Thomas. Give me DeAndre Hopkins. Thank you. Chris M4, thank you very much. Very generous of you. Far too generous, in fact. Moving on. Let's see here. What do you have as your question? Anthony Richardson is on the waivers. I'm benching Fields for Cousins. Okay, good choice. I have to drop a player to add Richardson to my IR. Should I drop a kicker? Should I stop by kicker? I think you meant drop. Kicker Tyler Bass, pick up Dicker and Richardson. I have Diggs, James Cook, so 3 Bills. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's make the swap. Let's drop Tyler Bass. Let's pick up Anthony Richardson, throw him into your IR spot, then pick up Dicker the kicker. Thank you. Brandon sends in a question, says half PPR flex, Taysom Hill, Jalen Warren, or Romeo Doubs. I'll take Romeo Doubs out of that. What is the best defense rest of season? The Cowboys. Yeah, clearly the Cowboys. They're elite across the board, man. They really are. Let's see here. Mostert or Pittman in a full PPR flex? I'll take Mostert there, Amal. Saiyan608 says, would you start Lockett or Addison in a half PPR? My other wide receivers are Puka Nacua and Godwin. My suggestion, Saiyan, would be to play to play Lockett over Godwin. And then if it's between Godwin and Addison, I'd probably still play Godwin. Yeah, so it is going to be Lockett over Addison, ultimately. Thank you. Again, for those of you who are joining us this morning, welcome to the Sunday edition of Andrew Kirchhoff's Q&A updated rankings that are currently on screen. And hopefully you guys don't ignore the rankings on screen. I don't know how you could ignore them. It's literally a billboard. I might as well just do this and just be like, hey, listen, the rankings are there. You know, they're there. But hey, it is what it is. I'm here to help to the best of my ability. Swift or Javonte? Full PPR. I'll take Javonte Williams there, David. Let's see here. Raji126 says Rashid Shaheed, Dotson, Warren, and a half PPR. I'll take Rashid Shaheed there. What does it say? My league also scores return yards. Yeah, Rashid Shaheed even more than at that point. Rashid Shaheed's incredible in terms of his receive yard return yard contributions. Oh, let's see here. Chase or Cooper full PPR? Do you if you would like to, I would wait and just play Chase regardless. That's what I would do. But I'm crazy, guys. I play in so many leagues to where I'm desensitized by some of the decisions that I make, to the point where I'm like, yes, I'm willing to risk it more often than not. Do you know what I mean? Cody says Invisible Man. Who's the Invisible Man, Cody? Is it you? Let's see. What question did you have? You're not invisible, Cody. Cody said, I love you. Hey, atta baby. Thanks, Cody. Good one, man. Let's see here. We had a question that came in from Jay Sayan. He says, Kirchhoff, in a half PPR, pick 2. Rashad White, DJ Moore, and Christian Kirk. I'd play Christian Kirk and Rashad White. Thank you. Jay Hawley says, in a half PPR, flex. Jaden Reed, Josh Reynolds, Gabriel Davis. I would play Gabriel Davis out of the group. Stack him with your Josh Allen. Aaron Northcutt. That's I remember from like what, UFC? Like Sage Northcutt? Yeah, anyway, moving on. Pick 4.5 PPR. Stevenson, Javonte Williams, T. Higgins, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf. Okay, so of the available options that you have, I'm very inclined to wait on T. Higgins and just not potentially play him at all. So I'm going to suggest we roll with DK Metcalf, Evans, Javonte, and Stevenson. They're really good options, and I don't think you have to wait for the upside of tomorrow if, in fact, Burrow is playing. Gerb, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Where are we at? We had Paxton. Paxton, where is your question, my man? Hall, Brian Robinson, or Rashad White? Full PPR pick 2. I'll take Rashad White and Brian Robinson. Thank you. Standard League, James Cook or Madison? I'll take James Cook there. Diggity Dog says Tutu Atwell or Hunter Henry. I'll take Tutu Atwell in the flex and a half PPR. Paxton says, yeah, Paxton, I got you, my man. Even though it wasn't, yeah, I got you, my man. I've caught up. Okay, so it's about 9:40. What does the weather look like, huh? What does the weather look like? And am I starting Joe Burrow over Desmond Ridder this week, guys? Because I don't have the ability to pick up some of these other quarterbacks. Literally, I play in a super flex league, and Desmond Ridder's my 3rd quarterback, and now I'm in trouble. The fan has been hit by the proverbial disaster that is Desmond Ridder. Samaje or Craig Reynolds? I'll take Craig Reynolds there this week. Thank you. Gainwell or Roshan Johnson to start? Oh, man, the risk is in there. I'd probably just play Gainwell there. Steven Hernandez says, flex, do I start Higgins, Lockett, or Nico Collins? I like Nico Collins over the bunch. Lockett first, Nico Collins second, and then, yeah. Do I drop someone for a kicker? What is this question? Yeah, you drop Kirk Cousins. Moving on. Chris Hammers says 0.2 per attempt, 40/50 yard touchdown gets extra points, rushing, throwing, etc. Fields or T-Law? I think I'd still play Trevor Lawrence there, even with the bonus points. Chase says Ravens or Packers defense. I'll take the Ravens. Would you trade Gibbs and London for Amon-Ra? No, I'd keep what you have. What's your opinion on Puka Nacua? I love him. No, I think he's going to be healthy tomorrow. Don't worry about his oblique. He's fine. All right, let's see here. Let's check the weather. Who's got the... Okay, yeah. Everyone was asking about Baltimore earlier, so let's see here. Ches the best on Twitter had added me. He said, flex 2, McLaurin, Addison, Breece Hall. Assuming it's a half PPR, I'll take Addison and Breece Hall. Thanks. So let's see here. Let's see what the weather looks like. Let's see here. Cracker says, Andrew, Miles Sanders or Godwin full PPR? I'll take Godwin there. Kelsey says, I lost Chubb, pick 1, Dalvin Cook or Roshan Johnson. I hate those both, honestly. If it's a full PPR, I'll play Roshan. If it's a half, I'll take Dalvin. Hey, Andrew, says Nick. Verone says, hey, Andrew, pick 2 in a full PPR. D-Hop, Elijah Moore, Jalen Warren, Kendre Miller, and JSN. I'll take Kendre Miller and D-Hop there. We move on to a question that came in just recently from Kirk A. Hutchison Jr. Moss or Pittman in a full PPR? Pittman, thank you. Tim Short says Fields or Goff. He has Dak. I got Lamb. He has Amon-Ra. I'm playing Goff either way. I just have him ranked higher. Steve Opener says full PPR. Algier, Hall, London. I'll take London out of the group. Elad Meshiah says Madison or Lockett, and Addison or Sanders in a half PPR. I will take. I'm fairly certain it's Lockett, and I'm fairly certain it's Addison. Lockett and Addison. Thank you. What does the weather look like? Let's go find it. Oh, you know what I need to do? I forgot. I haven't done this since last year. Who do the Ravens play again? They play against Colts. Ravens, Colts. Here we go. Let's see here. Latest. Let me see. On field. Is there any indication of rain? All right, getting back to answering questions. We had a question from Aaron Northcutt. Said Pitts or Ferguson? I'll take Kyle Pitts this week. Thank you. Moving on to Jonathan Del Angel. Says Sky Moore or Jaden Reed, full PPR flex. Sky Moore, Jaden Reed. I probably end up Let me see. Where's my rankings? I have to adjust it because of the full PPR I haven't with Jaden Reed. If Jaden Reed gets the boost, does he play ahead of? Yeah, it's probably Jaden Reed over Sky Moore. Thank you. We move on to Patrick Baker. He says, you missed my question. No, I trust me. Patrick, I got it, man. You just weren't listening. Let me go back up and let's find it. Patrick Baker. So you had said you need 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. So my suggestions specifically were you play Godwin and Garrett Wilson as your wide receivers, you play Sanders and Ford as your running backs, and you play Tank Dell in the flex. Thank you. Trust me, I'm on it, man. There's very few questions I've missed today. Very few. When I say very few, I mean literally 0. We move on. Miles. Okay, we already answered that, Cracker. Come on, man. You got to listen up. Tutu or Godwin or Madison. I'll take Madison out of the group. Steve Bateman says, I have Chase in 2 leagues. I have London in 1 league. I have Pickens in the other. Do I bench Chase for either? Ooh, good question. I'm looking at the weather in Baltimore. It looks like it's eventually going to rain, but it ain't raining right now. And this was literally posted. Yeah, it's not raining now. So I mean, it looks like it's overcast at the moment. It just doesn't look like no one's. It's going to be a light rain. I don't think it's going to be that much of an impact. Okay. So as for this question of playing Chase over those other options, I would risk it for the biscuit. If you want to, you can go ahead and play those alternative options if you want to avoid the risk. But I would like to play. Yeah, I'd like to play Chase in both those scenarios. Born Young says half PPR, Rashad White or Mark Andrews. I'll take Mark Andrews. Thank you. Phil says, if Burrow is out, should I play Chase or Michael Pittman Jr.? If Burrow is out, which we won't know till tomorrow, and you want to avoid the risk of Jamar Chase, just play Michael Pittman Jr. today and just let it roll. Otherwise, roll with Chase. Hope for the health of Joe Burrow. And hope he can stay healthy throughout tomorrow's game. I don't know. It's just kind of a risky scenario. I understand it. But out of your other option as well, you have Mike Williams. I'd probably play Mike Williams there, to be totally honest, Phil, and just avoid all the disaster. Thank you. I appreciate it. Matthew Langley says, in a half PPR, do I play T. Higgins or Miles Sanders or Josh Kelly? I'd play Josh Kelly today. Highest implied total in terms of points today. Any reason you don't have Jacoby Myers in your rankings? Yeah. Primarily because I don't know what I'm going to expect to see out of him. He played 1 week. He had an incredible, overall week. I don't know if that kind of contribution of opportunity is going to be on a consistent basis. That could have been an outlier in the grand scheme. I need more kind of, I would say proof per se that he's going to be utilized at that kind of capacity. So Puka is playing or what? Yes, he is CPO. We had a question coming from Andrew. It says 14-team league half PPR with a flex running back, Kyron Williams, Mixon, Madison, Edwards. We have Chase, Evans, Collins. What 5 do I start? If Burrow is out, how does that affect Mixon? Okay, so assuming Burrow is out, I would still play Kyron Williams, Mixon, Chase, Evans, and Collins. That's what I would approach with. So, with or without Mr. With or without Burrow, I'm still playing your Bengals players. Thank you. Kenny23332 says PPR flex Moss, Swift, Javante, or Addison. In a full PPR scoring format, give me Addison there. Abil says Godwin, Wilson, McLaurin, Judy, Ford, Dillon. Give me Godwin there. BH1747 says Kelly, Addison, Nico Collins, PPR start 2. Nico Collins and Kelly. Thank you. Dale Derrick says full PPR, figuring out my RB1, wide receivers, and double flex. Jahmyr Gibbs, Devonta Smith, Nico Collins, Jordan Addison, DK Metcalf, Swift, Zay. Okay, so of your players, Dale, Jahmyr Gibbs is your RB1. Your RB2, so you only need one running back, one wide receiver, and double flex. Okay, so RB1 is Jahmyr Gibbs. The wide receiver one is Devonta Smith, and the two flex options are Nico Collins and DK Metcalf. Thank you. You know what I would do actually, just to be safe, Dale? I would play Jahmyr Gibbs as your RB1. I'd play DK Metcalf as your wide receiver one, and I'd play Devonta Smith with Nico Collins as your flex. The reason why I say it is because if in case a nightmare, potential scenario occurs, and Devonta Smith is inactive tomorrow with a hamstring, you can then at least swap him in the flex for DeAndre Swift. Okay, thank you. Moving on, we have a question from SoyCar7. Says Javonte Williams or Lockett full PPR. Give me Lockett. TC says Tony Jones Jr. or Gainwell. Give me Gainwell. Also, Aguilar or Michael Thomas. I'll take Michael Thomas. Thank you. Abil says Pacheco, White, Gainwell, or Warren. Pacheco, White, Gainwell. Yeah, I'll take Pacheco out of that group. Thank you. Mostert or Sanders? Josh Moore. I would play Mostert. Again, rankings are on screen up to date as of this morning with everything that you need to have in terms of what my opinion is as to where I'm going. Thank you. Jonathan Yick says Ford, Dillon, or Flowers. I'll take Flowers out of the group. D-Hop or Najee Harris in a half PPR. I'd probably just play D-Hop there. I'm worried about Najee. Swift or Kirk? I'd probably end up playing Christian Kirk there. Algier or London in a full PPR? I'll play London. Jamar Chase, Christian Kirk, Jacoby Myers. I'm worried about the fall off from Burrow. Then just play Christian Kirk today and you're fine. Thank you. Dalton or Minshew? I would rather play Gardner Minshew this week. Thank you. Where's Jalen Warren ranked now that Watson is out? I think he's like 41 or 42 overall. Thanks, Nick. Good one, man. Yeah, good one. Let's see here. Pacheco, Ford, or Mostert? Yeah, I'll take Mostert there. Justa. Flow Easy says pick 3. Williams, Nakua, Addison, St. Brown. Yeah, it's for sure Nakua, St. Brown, and Williams in that order. Thank you. Ravens or Bills defense? I have the Bills defense ranked higher this week. Devontae Parker or Tank Dell is my wide receiver 3. Tank Dell. Mike Amdal says 1 flex, 1 wide receiver, Swift, Collins, Judy, and okay, so Collins is your wide receiver. I would play Swift over the rest. So Swift and Collins. If it's a full PPR, I'd play Judy and Collins. Thank you. Greetings, Andrew. How you doing? I'm doing terrible. I've been talking for 2 hours and 50 minutes straight, and I'm powering through it. Drake London or Zach Moss full PPR? I'll take Drake London there. I'm joking, by the way. I could literally do this for 8 hours straight, but then I'd lose my voice. Did he go over defenses already? Let's do it right now. I've done it like 12 times, but let's do it for the 13th. Might as well. I mean, why not? All right, let's talk about defenses. Number 1, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, we have the New England Patriots. 3, Buffalo Bills. 4, Baltimore Ravens. 5, New York Jets. 6, Kansas City Chiefs. 7, Jacksonville Jaguars. 8, Cleveland Browns. 9, Seattle Seahawks. 10, New Orleans Saints. I saw the new and I spazzed out. 11, Los Angeles Rams. And 12, Green Bay Packers. Kickers. Number 1, Brandon Aubrey. Number 2, Jake Elliott. Number 3, Justin Tucker. Number 4, Brett Maher. Number 5, Aubrey, Elliott, Tucker, Folk, Maher, Dicker, Koo, Bass, Sanders, McManus, Myers, Carlson, Butker. Thank you. Alrighty. Catching up. We had, oh my goodness, where is this next question coming from? Big Drew says, Jimmy G or Joe Burrow? Do you have an alternative for Joe Burrow? If you don't have an alternative, I mean, so you're basically saying, hey, do I play Jimmy G or take the risk that it's either going to be Jake Browning or Joe Burrow? I mean, I err on the side of caution. I don't know if I want to throw your league or throw your week off of just the risk. It's just maybe it's not worth it. I'd probably just play Jimmy and just let it roll. It's tough, man. It is tough. I mean, look, I'm a risky son of a gun, so I'd risk it tomorrow, but I don't know if you can. Yeah. Again, I'm willing to fight fire and burn myself at times. I kind of want to limit test per se. You know what I mean? Let's see here. We have a following question from Romeo Connor. He says in a half PPR, Najee Harris or Gabe Davis. I do have Josh Allen stack. Yeah, let's play Gabe Davis there. MG3 Fit says full PPR. I have Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Kyron Williams, Kenneth Walker, Justin Jefferson, Ridley, Nico Collins. You have a dream team. 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. Goddard or Laporta. Okay, so as of right now, in a full PPR scoring format, I'll take Laporta over Goddard. I'll play Jefferson and I'll play Ridley. In a full PPR, I probably end up playing Josh Jacobs alongside of Kyron Williams. Thank you. Andrew sends in a question, says, why Collins over Madison defending the chip? Because of you. Thank you. The primary reason why I'd rather have Nico Collins, especially because of the full PPR format. I mean, the volume of points, like even if he doesn't score a touchdown, like 7 catches for 60 yards, like double-digit fantasy points from doing literally nothing on the day is pretty solid in comparison to Alexander Madison truly needing that touchdown upside to be relevant. You know what I mean? Adam says, I forgot to add my question. My question is pick 2, Elijah Moore, Adam Thielen, Josh Reynolds. Adam, my suggestion would be Adam Thielen and Josh Reynolds this week. Thank you, Adam. Paul Getz says Pirine or Dotson in a half PPR. I probably still end up playing Jahan Dotson there. Thank you. Shane Howard says PPR pick 3, Puka Nacua, Chase, Cooper, Woods, Reed, Wilson. I'll play Cooper, Puka, and Chase. Thank you. And we're good to go. Oh my goodness. We're almost there. Full PP, okay, there it is. Tutu Atwell, Godwin, or Miles Sanders. I play Godwin there, Dan. Zach Moss, Miles Sanders, or Connor. I'll play Moss and Connor there. There is a channel that needs to be banned because it is spamming for no reason. Why are these? What are these bot accounts? They're like trying to make you go to a different link. It's like, does it not understand that it can't type links in my chat for a reason? Like I have that turned off. Mr. Kirchhoff says AJ Wright. Pick 2. Chase, Gabe Davis, Nico Collins, Zach Moss. Half PPR. I'll play Chase and I'll play Nico Collins. Start Gainwell or Roshan Johnson? Gainwell or Roshan Johnson? I am leaning towards the idea of playing Gainwell in a half PPR and Roshan in a full PPR. T. Higgins or Alexander Madison? I'd probably say just avoid the risk and let's just play Madison right now. Zach Moss or James Conner? I'll take James Conner. Alexander Madison or Devonta Smith, half PPR. I play Devonta Smith. Do you think Swift will take the backfield tomorrow? I hope so. I truly hope so. I really do. Let's see here. We had a couple more questions come in. We had Ro. Where's Ro's question? Okay, so we took care of Ro's question, so we're good there. We had Ian said AJ Dillon or Gabe Davis full PPR. I'll take Gabe Davis this week. We had Trex. Where's Trex's question? Trex's question is, I have Lamar Jackson stack with Flowers. Should I play Collins over Flowers? They're so close in my rankings. I'm okay with the idea of playing Flowers over Collins, but I would play Collins. Enemies Within says Brian Robinson or Jamar Chase full PPR. If you want to avoid the risk, just play the running back today. If you're willing to risk it for the biscuit, then you wait. Garrett Wilson or Dameon Pierce half PPR. I'd probably end up playing Dameon Pierce there. Wilson United says AJ Dillon or Gabe Davis. I have Allen. Yeah, let's go with Gabe Davis there. Pedro's Lucario says standard league. I need a running back. Flex, and super flex. Kelly, Edwards, JSN, Shaheed. Okay, so of the available options you have, okay, first and foremost, let's talk about super flex. Has to be a quarterback. We're playing Jordan Love there. Boom, that's done. As for the running back that you're playing, I like Kelly. As for the flex you're playing, I like Edwards. So Edwards, Kelly, and Love, thank you. The Chaos Era says full PPR, Breece Hall or Jerome Ford. In a full PPR scoring format, I'm probably... Where do I have him ranked? Let's go find it. Full PPR, running backs. Where do I have Hall comparison to Ford? I'll take Ford. Thank you. Moving on, we have Alexander Leon. Thank you very much. Full PPR, James Cook, Christian Kirk, Pat Fryermuth, Hunter Henry. Give me Hunter Henry over Pat Fryermuth. As for Kirk and James Cook, let me go ahead and let me reference my full PPR rankings here. I have... Where's James Cook in comparison? I have James Cook 3 spots ahead of Christian Kirk in my rankings. Thank you. We move on to Auntie Slayer. Says Madison over Swift. Yeah, I would play Madison over Swift this week. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, we are almost there. Kickoff is about to be upon us. Let me see. What games do we have this morning? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in regards to this morning, and we only have 3 afternoon games? Who decided that? Oh, that's disastrous. Oh, those afternoon games suck. Kansas City's going to blow out the Bears, and the Cowboys... Yeah, so let's watch the games, and then we'll all take afternoon naps, huh? Before the Sunday night game is not looking great either. Yuck. So yeah, that's the position we're in. Very interesting, to say the least. We'll leave it at that, I guess, for now. All right. We had a question that came in from Berg. Full PPR. Miles Sanders, Taysom Hill, Andrew Miller, Rashad. Okay. Yeah. Out of those options, I'll take Miles Sanders, Berg. Thank you. Logert says Jalen Warren, Jerome Ford, full PPR. Thanks. Man, I don't know if I can trust Warren. I know that they're saying he's going to get an expanded role, but I think I'd probably just play Ford there just to be safe. Tyler Sperry says Josh Reynolds or Pittman. Give me Pittman. Big Drew 93 says definitely starting Goff as my other quarterback. So would you ride with Burrow as your second quarterback? Thank you. Who's your other one, Big Drew? Big Drew. Jimmy G or Burrow? Look, in my league right now, my home league, okay? I have Desmond Ridder or what's it called? Joe Burrow. I'm going to play Joe Burrow. I'm going to risk it. If I have to tomorrow, I will throw Joe Burrow on my IR and I'll go pick up the backup and I'll eat the bullet. But for now, I'm going to try to wait. That's all I'm going to say. So for Jimmy G, you can wait, but it depends. Do you want to risk it for the biscuit? If you'd like to join me on this venture of no return, by all means, join me. Kyron Williams or Wilson? Kyron Williams, 100%. Toby Sexton says, non-PPR, Jacoby Myers, Michael Thomas, A.J. Dillon, Dalvin Cook. Give me Michael Thomas, number 1. Jacoby Myers, number 2. A.J. Dillon, number 3. Thank you. It's 10 a.m. It's time. Kickoffs have begun. Ridley over Mike Williams. Yes, Ahmed. Yes. I would do that. All right, that's going to cover for me, guys. For me today, guys. I'm just like starting to slur words at this point. My brain is starting to overheat. Doesn't matter. Game started. I know. Thank you. All right, that's going to cover it, guys. I'm going to say good luck. Let's avoid injury. Let's have another big week here. And until tomorrow, waiver wires and the disaster with Joe Burrow presents. What does that say? Gabe Davis or over Myers? Yes. I appreciate y'all. Thank you. I'm going to cue the music, double helix, and I'm sending it off. Peace. Enjoy your Sunday. Later, guys. Good luck.